Welcome everyone to Sister Wives with Mary Jane K. Today, I'll be giving my commentary on Sister Wives, Season 17, Episode 6, Telling Truly. I have a lot to say, as usual. I particularly noticed Cody trying to paint himself as a victim of the lifestyle and as a victim of his wives. And it's complete and utter bullshit, of course. Cody isn't a victim who is marginalized, who has no voice. And Kotex can paint that picture all he likes with words that fly out of his mouth. But Cody's words don't match with reality. It's just his version with his warped perception, skewed by his victim mentality, personality issues, and egotistical delusions, in my opinion. I loved it when Janelle made it clear she would pick her dogs over Cody, and she'd pick her kids over Cody also, of course. Cody is just using the dogs and saying the trailer is small as an excuse to avoid giving Janelle equal time so he can live in monogamous bliss with Goblin, which is what he wants. Kotex loves his Goblin. His ego needs her to stay upright. He also contradicts himself. Last episode, Cody said the trailer was small. This episode, he said it was big, and he had a hard time maneuvering the fifth wheel to park it on Coyote Pass. And he also said this same episode again that it was so small and cramped with a small bathroom and a tiny kitchen, and he wasn't going to suffer and stay in that RV because Janelle made that choice, and she didn't include him in that choice. So he isn't going to pay for her choice with his own personal inconvenience. Cody admitted it. He admitted it would be inconvenient. He admitted he will never use that bathroom. He will just shower at Robin's where there is hot water. He initially told Janelle he would stay in the trailer with her. And then now he is retracting that and going back on his word like the liar that he is, making excuses, wanting Janelle to own her choice. He wants to live monogamously with Robin, and he will find any excuse in the book, any barrier to put in place to avoid doing his duty as a husband and a father to all of his kids and all of the wives he has in his family. Whether it's his personal inconvenience, the trailer that is too big to maneuver easily but too small to live in for Cody, or the fact that Janelle lets the dogs on the bed, anything is an excuse, and Cody wants to also punish Janelle for not consulting him first on buying the trailer and getting his final approval. Because, of course, Cody thinks in his mind that he's the ultimate authority. If his wives want to use their voice or display independence, he will punish them by using that as an excuse to not be there, to blame their choices because he was not the ultimate authority. He will claim he wasn't consulted even if he was spoken to about this over multiple conversations. Cody knows himself. He is never there. Janelle could have bought a mansion even bigger than Goblin's. Cody would find a reason why he could not make it over, and he would then deflect and make it something he can blame on Janelle and the kids to remove any accountability from himself, at least in his own mind. His bullshit excuses and rationalizations and justifications might make Cody feel less guilty on a personal level, erroneously, because his arrogance and hubris is number one. And it's a full-time job upholding his own ego. And taking accountability would interfere with that. Cody has to keep his ego in a box marked fragile and pad it with papers and blankets and tissue papers to keep that fragile ego delicately situated and safe. Cody's bullshit justifications he creates do not hold any weight whatsoever, and they don't actually succeed in removing Cody's responsibility in his failure to behave appropriately and decently as a husband and a father to his wives and kids. If Cody spent less time coming up with bullshit excuses and justifications, spewing verbal diarrhea everywhere, and he took more time shutting up and fulfilling his responsibilities to his wives and kids by being a decent husband and a father who showed up for fair and equal amounts of time, who was equally invested, he might have enough time to see all his wives and kids equally. But Kotex has no interest in doing things fair and equal. He has no interest in the wives and kids who don't bend the knee and pretend he's father and husband of the year. I knew this season we would see Cody call himself the marginalized victim of his wives. He would blame the lifestyle itself, calling it dysfunctional. He would blame the faith, anything and anyone but himself. Anything to take the fault away from himself, anything to paint himself as the victim, the good guy trying his best to make this familial system work with 4 unreasonable women with absurd expectations, the marginalized husband, the victim of a lifestyle that is just impossible to do fairly and equally. It's the fault of the women. It's the fault of the lifestyle. It's not Cody's fault. Cody is the blameless, faultless victim. I predicted that Cody would probably ice out Janelle next. It's not hard to see with his typical patterns. He's very predictable. Just as he tried with Mary, and successfully he accomplished this with Christine, of course, and she left and she moved to Utah as well. I knew that Cody would say he was the victim of not just his wives, but of the lifestyle too, that he would go after Janelle next. We all knew. It's not hard to see because Cody and his behavior patterns are obvious to anyone who has seen a person with his personality traits before. It's very predictable behavior all of the time. Cody is going to continue to spin unhinged, and he will try and paint Christine, the heart of his family, the nurturer of the family, who should be regarded in the highest esteem for her sacrifice to this family for over 25 years of her life. He's going to paint her now as the evil woman, nefariously blocking access to the kids, moving away, planning to marry a phantom man to go after his coins, manipulating the kids, influencing them negatively against him, spinning the narrative, whispering in her kids' ears to influence them and frame Kotex as the bad guy. Christine isn't that type. She would never be manipulative and try to influence her kids to think about their father negatively. Christine will in fact bend over backwards to accommodate Cody and to help facilitate positive relationships between Cody and their kids. With the move to North Carolina for Isabel, Christine even told Cody she was willing to change plans to help him to accommodate whatever Cody wanted to do to facilitate it so that he could be there to help Isabel move to college. And Cody refused. He wants to play like he is father of the year. So why the fuck was he unable to help Isabel move? He was unable to attend her major surgery. He was inconvenienced by seeing her outside because of the cold when she chose to attend school. He was unable to have her over at Robin's house during her recovery from surgery when the nanny was allowed in, all due to his COVID protocols, which are really just intentional hoops for everyone to jump through. Cody intentionally placed these hoops to create a barrier intentionally so he can make bullshit excuses as to why he cannot be there for his wives and kids and give them equal time, blaming them for their choices as the reasons why he cannot be there as a husband and a father, when it is his choice and his choice alone to be there or not be there as a father and a husband. And it doesn't matter what choices his wives and kids make. Those choices have no bearing on Kotex's ability to be there and show up as a father and a husband, fairly and equally invested. Cody is making the choice to be absent. He is actively choosing to not be there, and he wants to blame it on everyone else's choices and decisions as to why he just can't be there, when ultimately Cody is choosing to be absent, and that choice has nothing to do with anything or anyone else. It's all just bullshit, so Cody can feel justified in his absence and the lack of investment and fair and equal presence he has in all of the households. Why is it that Cody can show up to his friend's wedding he will be officiating, can drive all the way to Texas, and he didn't seem worried about looking like a hypocrite or breaking his COVID protocols to officiate this wedding? But he wasn't able to make it to Isabel's surgery. Supposedly one of the reasons he gave was he couldn't break his own rules and look like a hypocrite. He didn't worry about breaking his protocols. He didn't worry about driving across country. He didn't seem to wonder if the gas stations would be open like he did when he made excuses as to why he could not drive with Isabel across the country to move her to North Carolina. He blamed the pandemic for that. When Christine was trying to make plans with Cody and she was saying she would do anything to accommodate him and what he wanted to do, he was wondering if gas stations would even be open, when he knows damn well he has filled his car up multiple times during this whole pandemic. One reason Cody gave for not attending Isabel's surgery was he didn't want to break his own rules. He didn't want to look like a hypocrite. But he seemed to have zero worries about looking like a hypocrite to drive across the country to officiate his friend's wedding. He didn't worry if the gas stations were open for that cross-country trip. Why was officiating the wedding convenient for Cody? Why was he able to break his COVID protocols and travel to officiate the wedding, but he was unable to travel for Isabel and her surgery or her move to North Carolina? Could it be because of Cody's ego? The wedding, officiating a wedding, being the star, being the officiant, the man of importance. That's a huge feast for Cody's ego. Nom, 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 nom. What an opportunity. Then it's convenient. If it strokes that ego, Cody can make it. But Isabel's surgery wasn't an ego feast for Cody. Cody wouldn't be the star of that show. That would be about Isabel. And the drive to North Carolina would be about Isabel too. But this wedding and officiating it meant Cody got to be the star of the show. For his fans, for the adulation, Cody can show up. He just can't seem to make it for his daughter or for the obstacles to his goals in life, his family. But to officiate this wedding, Kotex wouldn't dream of missing it. Missing the opportunity to be front and center in the spotlight. I bet the ceremony will be all about Cody, just like he did with Maddie's ceremony. Cody loved being the star. He can be inconvenienced for the glory and the limelight, but not inconvenienced to support his daughter. Cody's got some interesting priorities, especially now when he wants to play Father of the Year. He wants Truly there half the week to establish a pattern of custody, probably because he wants to have time with Truly away from Christine so that he and Goblin can try and manipulate Truly and influence her, in my opinion. Cody didn't even know Truly's age. He thought she was 10 years old, and Christine had to correct him and say, no, actually, Truly's 11. Last episode, Cody didn't know Isabel was turning 18. He thought it was sweet 17. This guy isn't Father of the Year. He will never be. He's nowhere near it. And I don't care if he has 18 kids or not. It doesn't matter. It's Cody's responsibility as a father to know the ages of the souls he helped bring into this world with his wives. He should know all of his kids' ages. He didn't know Truly's age. He didn't know Isabel's age. Does he know all the ages of Robin's kids? I bet you he knows every freaking one. In my opinion, Cody wants to avoid child support, and he wants to use Truly as a bargaining chip, perhaps, with Christine because he doesn't trust Christine about what she will do with Coyote Pass. And as far as her home is hers. It's in her name. And that money she makes from the sale of her home is hers. It's not the family's money. And in the preview for the next episode, Cody says the family can use the money from the sale of Christine's house in Flagstaff to pay off the land so Janelle can actually start building. In what world would Christine give her money from the home she owns in her name to pay off property she no longer owns or wants anything to do with? That money is hers. Cody wants to talk about the food storage and about Truly and not ever being asked if Truly can move with Christine, although they settled this already, because Cody wants to use all he can, including his daughter Truly, as leverage for negotiations because he doesn't trust Christine, even though Christine would never do him dirty. He wants to make sure Christine doesn't take him to the cleaners. She supposedly sold her land on Coyote Pass for just $10 as a kindness to Robin and Cody. She wants nothing to do with it. That was kind of her, but her home is her home, and whatever money she made from that is hers alone. And it's for herself and for Truly and for whatever she wants to do with it. Truly is not a bargaining chip to control Christine. And I think that's why Cody has taken such an interest in Truly. It's all about controlling Christine and managing her exit. And Cody is trying to make sure things go to his advantage. I don't think Cody gives a fuck about Truly. I think he wants to try and boost his ego, and he may want to take time with Truly to try and influence her to his side. Because Cody is the one assuming that Christine is bad-mouthing Cody to her kids, and that ruined the father-child relationships. When the truth is, Cody and his behavior and words and actions fucked up his relationships with his kids himself, and the way he treats their mother doesn't help. But Christine isn't influencing her kids against Cody. In fact, she would love them to have amazing relationships with their dad. She wouldn't want her kids to be hurt. And the kids don't need to be influenced. They're intelligent and mature human beings who can see with their own eyes and hear with their own ears to process how they feel about their father just fine on their own. Cody makes his own bed with his kids with his own bad behavior. And Cody's behavior and the way he treats Christine and the way he treats his kids and the level of investment he gives his kids, that is what creates the bad relationships between Cody and his kids. It's not on Christine. Christine isn't some evil manipulative witch. This is on Cody alone. Cody's bad relationships with his kids don't have anything to do with them being influenced against him by anyone. Cody is just deflecting and projecting his own manipulative, disgusting behaviors on everyone around him because he thinks manipulatively. He expects everyone around him to also do the same. This isn't actually about Truly and Cody wanting to be with Truly as a father. He was only able to do 3 full days out of 800 days. And now he wants to establish that it's 50-50 custody. As always, it's about Cody and his pride. Cody wanting to try and influence Truly. It's not about building a connection or a bond with a genuine, authentic, unconditional love behind it for the sake of loving his child. It's not about his relationship with Truly. If it was about that, Cody would have showed up for more than 3 out of 800 full days when Christine lived in his backyard. This sudden investment in Truly is to establish custody and a pattern for legal purposes and for Cody's pride and ego. He wants to feel like he can still get Truly on his side. And now Christine is his enemy to him, so he wants to make sure he gains points with Truly for his own arrogant needs and his own ego. This isn't about him caring for Truly and his relationship with his daughter. This is about Cody and his ego and wanting 50-50 custody to punish Christine, and probably because Robin is whispering in his ear, in my opinion. See, right now Cody thinks he and Christine are playing a game because Cody plays everything like it's a game to calculate and do this and leverage that to try and get what he wants out of a situation. Everything is about being right and winning and control. Because Cody manipulates and Robin manipulates, they assume everyone in the family plays the same game they're playing and that they manipulate too. And they view this as a game for control as well, when that's not the case at all. Cody and Robin are playing a game trying to manage the obstacles to Cody's goals in life. They prioritize themselves. Cody and Robin prioritize each other. But Christine and Janelle, and Mary to some extent, prioritize the family first. Although Mary is now more on Team Cody and Robin out of necessity, otherwise she would have nothing in the family to anchor to. Christine isn't calculating. She isn't manipulating. She would love for her kids to not be hurt by Cody as their father. She would love them to have great relationships with Cody. She doesn't want her kids to be hurt by this. She does all she can to foster those good relationships between Cody and his kids. And for Cody to now suggest that Christine is framing a narrative for her kids, that he is the bad guy, that's insulting to everyone's intelligence, including Christine's and the kids. Her kids, save Truly, are old enough to see the situation and to make their own conclusions based on their dad's behavior and treatment of them and their mom, and based on his absence and non-existent investment levels. It's insulting to assume that they are so weak-minded that they are just influenced by their mom, who actually in reality does all she can to facilitate Cody having relationships with her kids. She does all she can to shield her kids from Cody's unhinged fuckery as well. So Cody is a bitter idiot who wants to villainize Christine, the heart of his family, to make himself feel better about being a shit father and husband, completely absent just because he prefers to lie to make himself look better and say, Christine is evil. Christine is manipulating. Christine is preventing access to the kids. She is putting up the barriers. She is poisoning the well against him. That's why the kids don't like him. In Cody's mind, it could have nothing to do with Cody and his own shit behavior and manipulative actions. It has to do with Christine and her evil ways and the feeble minds of his kids who are so easily influenced. That is such bullshit. It's very condescending and it's very insulting. Cody should be really ashamed of himself. Christine is the heart of the family. She sacrificed a lot to raise all the kids in the family as she suffered on the inside. And it never affected her ability to parent and to nurture. And if Cody now wants to put Christine down and paint this narrative of Christine that is a whole lie to make himself look better, it just shows how delusional Cody is and how disgusting his character is if this is how he speaks of the mother of his kids and his wife for over 25 years. It's very embarrassing for Cody that he lacks the self-awareness to this degree and the consciousness to know better. It's also interesting to me that Cody attributes manipulation to Christine, saying she influences her kids' opinions of him and it affects their relationships with him, saying Christine badmouths him to manipulate the kids and assert her narrative when that's untrue. And it also happens to be what Robin does, interestingly enough. Remember when Robin ran with the narrative that Christine and Janelle rejected her and the kids for Thanksgiving when they just decided to travel to see their older kids, and Robin took it personally, and that was her warped perception. That was not reality-based truth. She took it as a personal rejection when it was not, and then she framed it to her kids that way, and she encouraged them to see the situation as she did, as a personal rejection when it wasn't true. She also then framed it to her kids that way. She encouraged them to see the situation that way as she did, as personal rejection. And she then mentioned Gabe specifically, complaining he had friends and he had a girlfriend in such a tone as if she were suggesting he had a crack addiction or something terrible like that. The reality was Janelle and Christine went to see their older kids out of state instead of attending Robin's Thanksgiving because they could all not be welcome if they could not follow the protocols dictated by Cody. So they instead opted to see their older kids out of state and follow CDC guidelines. It was not a personal rejection of the family or Robin and her kids at all. But that's what Robin whispered. Robin does manipulation. She manipulates her kids to see things through her skewed perception of things, even when it isn't reality. But her emotions cloud her judgment and her perception. Christine does not manipulate and do that with her kids. She does the opposite of bad-mouthing Cody. No one needs to badmouth Cody. Look at his words and look at his actions and his behaviors. The proof is in the pudding and it speaks for itself. No one needs to go to the trouble of making Cody look bad or influence anyone against him. Cody digs his own grave every episode all by himself just by opening his mouth. It doesn't take anyone having to do any type of influencing for people to see and feel the truth about Cody. Look at the comment Cody made that he's not that big an ogre. He doesn't know why Isabel isn't talking to him. He wants to suggest that Christine is influencing Isabel to hate him. That's not the case. Cody fucked up his relationship with Isabel through his actions and words and through repeatedly showing Isabel she is not his priority and that he does not love her unconditionally and that he cannot give her what she deserves as his daughter, obviously. He could not attend her major surgery. He could not help her move to college. He could not see her outside in the cold because she chose to pick in-person class over him, and it's too inconvenient for him. And he wanted to punish Isabel for not picking him as her priority. But when is Isabel her father's priority? When does he pick Isabel to prioritize? Isabel was in pain for months, and he asked her to wait 6 more months to do the surgery, pushing it off, knowing that she suffered in pain daily. He asked her to endure more pain so it would be more convenient for him, probably financially and otherwise. He initially suggested she travel to New Jersey alone at just 17 years old to do the major surgery during the pandemic. He was unable to help her move to North Carolina, asking stupid questions, wondering if gas stations would even be open. He said he would not go to Isabel's surgery because he didn't want to look like a hypocrite who broke his own COVID protocols. Yet he was able to travel and go on this road trip to be the center of attention, officiating a wedding for his friends. Cody's priority isn't Isabel or his other kids or his wives or the obstacles to his goals in life, his family. Cody's priority is Cody. It's his ego, his arrogance, his selfish interests. Why is it he can make it to officiate this wedding and travel, taking a road trip farther than Texas, breaking his COVID protocols during the pandemic to be the star of the show, yet he could not make it to his daughter's surgery? He called that trip to New Jersey with the quarantine time and the surgery time and the recovery time Christine's vacation. He couldn't make it to his daughter's surgery. God forbid he look like a hypocrite. And he could not help Isabel move to North Carolina for college because it's a road trip during COVID. And what if the gas stations aren't open? But he could officiate the wedding and he could make that road trip. Why? Because Cody is Cody's priority and Cody's ego is of the utmost importance. This is why he can be inconvenienced to travel to officiate a wedding during the pandemic, to be in the limelight, but he could not be there for his daughter's major surgery or her move to college, even though he calls himself the protector of the children in the family. Is Cody the protector of all his children? Equally, is he equally protective of all his children? Is he the protector of all of his children unconditionally, or just the children from one particular household? The cost of Cody's protection, the cost of Cody's conditional love, is complete submission and total obedience. Are the crumbs Cody gives as a reward worth the price? Are the crumbs worth the price? Are the crumbs worth the cost? When someone loves unconditionally, their investment, their effort, their presence does not feel like pulling teeth. It flows with ease in good times and bad, thick and thin. Those ties of love, those bonds, don't snap like a twig underfoot at the smallest displeasure or the tiniest inconvenience to one party in the relationship. The relationship isn't based on love. It's based on control in those situations. It's based on obedience. It's based on how much power and authority one has over the other. And that will never be a relationship of equals in any capacity, and it will never be a relationship of unconditional love. The person who dominates or attempts to dominate is just in that relationship to get an ego boost, to serve them, to feel good about themselves. If they aren't absolutely adored, if there is a hint of criticism or question, even constructive criticism, the other person who dares to ask is cleaved off and discarded because they no longer serve their purpose. That's what Kotex does. Everyone is dispensable, whether it's a wife or a kid, and he deflects to the other person. It's always their choices that prevent him when he is the one making the choice to be prevented and not be there. Nothing is stopping Cody from being there but himself. He doesn't want to be there and is too much of a spineless coward to say it. He prefers to hurt everyone around him and burn every bridge, stewing in resentment, creating trauma and damage to every relationship he has over just being honest with himself and his family. And his family doesn't deserve any of this shit. His wives don't deserve it. When he married them, he signed up for this and he told them he was capable of plural marriage. And he had 18 kids. And his kids did not sign up for this. They did not get to choose Cody as their dad. They did not get to choose to live in a plural family. And just because Cody doesn't want to own his choice and take accountability and do things fairly and equally to the best of his ability because he regrets his choice and he wants to be mad at the world, it doesn't give him a license to hurt and damage his kids in this way. They didn't ask for this. They don't deserve this from their father. And just because Cody has buyer's remorse about polygamy, or he resents his choice and he doesn't want to own it, and he no longer wants to try hard or be inconvenienced by his bad choice, it doesn't make it acceptable for him to treat his kids this way. It doesn't make it appropriate to use his presence and investment as a father as a reward for blind obedience, as a reward for making it easier on him, as a reward for convenience, as a reward to his wife for doing whatever it is to his liking, so he doesn't take out his shit relationships with a wife on his kids. Cody told Mary to suck it up, Buttercup, but all Cody does is whine and whinge and deflect and resent. He doesn't seem to suck it up. He doesn't do what he should, even though Cody regrets his choice and he loathes his obligations. He still has to suck it up, owning his choice by being a father to all of his kids and by being present and being loving and unconditionally supportive of all of them. The adult kids and the minor kids, whether or not he gets along with his wives and whether or not he enjoys living plural marriage. His kids deserve a dad who can give them what they need and deserve. And Cody being a bitch and being angry because he doesn't like his choice and then being toxic and manipulative to avoid his responsibilities and feel justified in it isn't Cody owning his choice like he says he wants his kids to do in season 3. Cody made this choice to live polygamy. He has 18 kids. And it doesn't matter if he likes his choice and the consequences of plural marriage or not. He has 18 kids. He needs to be there and he needs to love them unconditionally. They don't deserve less than. They don't deserve an absent father. They don't deserve a father who manipulates and neglects and emotionally abuses his wives and kids because he is mad about his responsibilities as a husband and a father in a plural marriage, and he doesn't like the consequences of his choice and the sacrifice he has to make because of his choice, and it's all just too inconvenient. Plural marriage isn't convenient. If Cody likes convenience above all else, he shouldn't have married 4 women and had 18 kids. Plural marriage is obviously very inconvenient. It's very complex. It's very complicated. And with a guy like Cody with his personality issues, it's even more complicated. So this bullshit about Cody and his inconvenience is ridiculous. He made a choice of living polygamy. He married 4 women. It's very inconvenient. He knows that. For a lazy man who is selfish, who prefers convenience, maybe he should have considered that when signing up for this. And now he needs to own his choice and do what he signed up for. He needs to own his choice. Buttercup needs to suck it up. Cody needs to suck so much up that maybe his wife should get him a Hoover or a Dyson vacuum for his birthday present. Another interesting point to me was how Cody mentioned, although he doesn't think Mary will be fulfilled in the marriage to him like this, he doesn't think anyone would be fulfilled with their marriage as it is. He now favors Mary over Christine. See how now Cody will slowly promote Mary in the hierarchy, because despite Cody giving Mary absolutely nothing, she stays forever loyal. So he is giving her some brownie points. She gets a promotion on the totem pole now because Christine is now at the top of his shit list. It shows there is a hierarchy among the wives, no matter how much it's denied. Cody denies that Robin is the favorite wife. Robin denies that she is the favorite wife. Janelle denied in previous seasons that there was a hierarchy. In the past, Christine admitted that she was the basement wife. And now Cody has outed that Mary is ahead of Christine. That shows there is a hierarchy, and Christine is really on Kotex's shit list if he puts Mary ahead of her. Christine is that high on his shit list the top entry. But yet, in Cody's arrogant delusions, he thinks maybe there is a possibility in the future that Christine will change her mind and come crawling back. Christine is happy to be free. She is relieved. There is no way in hell she would ever go back. And Robin is in on the delusional train as well. This episode, she hopes Christine has a change of heart. Last episode, she says God can work miracles. God isn't going to perform the miracle of Christine magically accepting to live in a loveless marriage, taking less than she deserves and less than would make her feel loved and fulfilled. God wouldn't want Christine to accept less than she deserves. I think if God exists, he or she is a God of love. He or she would want people happy and loved as God loves. So it would be against a loving God to perform a miracle of Christine accepting to go back to a marriage where she isn't an equal and she doesn't get what she deserves and she doesn't feel loved. Why would God want that for her? Why didn't Robin ask God to fix Cody, to make his mind healthy and to clean his heart and to clean his conscience, to understand what unconditional love and respect actually means? God is supposed to intervene with Christine in Robin's mind, but Cody doesn't seem to need God's miracle. In my opinion, God already did the miracle, and that's why Christine was able to find the strength and the courage to free herself from Cody, in my opinion. Cody makes the hierarchy clear. He will favor those who please him. The hierarchy is based on who is convenient and who submits blindly. I think Cody knows now that Christine left, Janelle is out next, and I think he will systematically push Janelle out. He already is by refusing to stay in the fifth wheel, and he may elevate Mary because he and Robin need Mary for both the spiritual implications in the afterlife and to keep the show going. If Mary leaves and it's just Cody and Robin, there will be no TLC paycheck. No one watches the show for Cody and Goblin. We watch to see what happens with Christine and Janelle and to some extent Mary. If Mary were to leave, there would be no Sister Wives left and no show. I wouldn't watch a show with Cody and Robin. I'm not into watching paint dry. I really hope one day TLC gives Christine and Janelle a show where Mary can guest star as well and viewers can follow their journey because that's what viewers watch for. No one is interested in Cody and Robin. Cody really detracts from the show. He's annoying to watch. Everything he says is utter bullshit. If I wasn't covering his hypocrisy and contradictions, I would just fast forward through all of his scenes with Goblin just to watch Christine, Janelle, and Mary. The thumbnail, by the way, is in honor of the Cody Brown, the patriarch, the king of the prairie dog plaguelands. He said he doesn't think he is that big of an ogre. I then came across some clip art of ogres that happened to look exactly like Cody's poses, just by chance, and it gave me a good laugh, so I just had to make this thumbnail. Okay, let's get into this episode, Sister Wives, Season 17, Episode 6, Telling Truly. Cody comes over so Christine can talk with Cody about telling Truly that she is leaving him and moving to Utah. Christine wants to see if Cody is okay with them telling Truly together because Truly needs to know sooner than later. Christine points out the older kids already know, most of the younger kids know, but Truly doesn't know yet, and Christine is concerned with Truly's reaction. It's getting close now. Isabel and Gwendolyn know, and Christine worries the news may accidentally slip. So she would really like to tell Truly with Cody present, because if they do it together as both of Truly's parents, Truly will see them as a team still. Truly has had friends with parents who had ugly divorces with lots of fighting, and Christine doesn't want Truly to think it will be like that in this case. So she wants to do this with Cody as a team. Cody doesn't know how he feels about telling Truly. He tells Christine he has heard of so many kids being devastated by the news of divorce. I'm guessing where he heard this is from Robin, who is very emotional, probably telling Cody about her divorce experience with her kids. But Christine is very put together. She isn't going to vomit her emotions everywhere. She's in control of herself. She's in control of her emotions. And when exposing her kids to the divorce, she isn't going to be so emotional that she makes it more traumatic for them than it needs to be. I think Cody is hesitant about telling Truly too, because he wants to use Truly as a bargaining chip to make sure Christine settles her exit from the family to Cody's benefit. Cody reveals to Christine that he has avoided the idea of telling Truly. In confessional, Cody says, in some idealistic and naive way, he thinks maybe he and Christine can reconcile. He says he's still in a state of denial and he doesn't want to tell Truly yet. In what world would they reconcile ever? Cody is incapable of giving Christine and her kids with him what they deserve of him. He cannot give Christine as a wife what she deserves of him as a husband. He cannot give his kids with her what they deserve of him as a father. And I don't see that ever changing. So why would Christine and Cody reconcile? Reconciling would involve Christine accepting less than she deserves for the rest of her life. It would require Christine to accept a loveless marriage, married to the human equivalent of a wall, who just did a monologue about patriarchy. I would say Christine was done officially with Cody the day she packed up his boxes and threw them in the garage. The fact that he and Robin are delusional asshats who think maybe there is a possibility that maybe she will just change her mind in the future is insulting as fuck to Christine and her intelligence. Cody is unable to be a husband and a father. He isn't capable of any more than what he's doing now, and he will never be capable of more. This isn't just a phase Christine is going through. Christine isn't just trying to be difficult to get more out of Cody, to get more of Cody's time and attention. She wants nothing to do with him. She isn't playing a game. This isn't just a phase. All she wants to do with Cody is co-parent their kids in a healthy way. Cody is a real nut if he thinks for even half a second that Christine will ever change her mind. This is Cody's way of keeping his ego afloat, delusionally thinking maybe this is all just a phase. Robin encourages that too, because if Cody has to process that he actually permanently lost Christine, and if he has to process the reality that Christine will never ever be back, he will become more angry and resentful, and it will then affect the environment at Robin's house. So Robin probably holds on to the few heartfelt family moments, asking who would think that was wrong. And a few moments at a family party they have once in a blue moon doesn't make a family, and it certainly doesn't make a marriage. Cody feels there are so many things to put in place. He wants to start taking Truly with him to have her for a couple of days at a time each week. Cody doesn't know why he hasn't done it yet. He says it's because he's been so busy with other things, but he would like the girls to come over and hang out with him at Robin's house. Cody wants Truly to come over to Robin's house to hang out with him. He says it's weird being at Christine's house. So Cody is thinking of ways to get Truly out of that environment and into his environment to see what happens there. Cody wants Truly to come over every week for 3 or 4 days, and he says they will get a bed for her or whatever. So Christine asks Cody if they will have a separate bedroom for Truly. She asks what Cody is thinking specifically. And Cody says they will get it worked out, whatever it is. He doesn't commit to getting her a bed in her own separate room. Christine thanks him. She tells him, let's do that. And Cody says they will figure that out. First of all, Cody wants Truly to come over to establish custody, and also because I think he feels like Christine influences their kids against him, which is a lie. So he wants to spend time at Robin's house alone with Truly so that he can also have his influence over Truly away from Christine. And we all know that Christine doesn't influence or manipulate her kids against Cody at all. But Cody assumes that in his paranoid brain. And now he wants to do that with Truly, and he also wants to use her as a bargaining chip as well to make sure things go to his favor with Christine leaving, financially, legally, and otherwise. This idea that they will get a bed for Truly or whatever and figure it out probably means Cody has to confer with his goblin about it to get her permission to see if Robin will allow Truly her own bed or her own private room. Robin will have to grant permission, and Cody will have to confer with her to see if Truly will be allowed her own bedroom in the mansion, or to see where Robin will permit Cody to keep a bed for Truly. And Cody isn't sure, probably because he hasn't gotten that permission yet from Robin on where Truly's bed will be, or if she can even have a bed, because he didn't seem very sure that she would have her own room. As Truly's father, if Truly is going to stay over there and feel like she has a place there, it should be up to him to say, we will definitely get you a private room. You will definitely have your own bed. She should feel like she has a place. She's 11 years old. She needs her private space. And as the father, Cody should already know about that. It shouldn't be a whatever, we'll figure it out. This is important. This is about Truly feeling safe in her environment. It should already be figured out, and Cody should know definitely she will be having a bedroom. He didn't seem to be able to commit to Christine that she would have her own bedroom. Really didn't seem sure that she would have her own room, and he should be able to guarantee to Christine that Truly would have a private room. It really seems to me like Cody has to consult with Robin first. I think Cody was expecting Christine to fight him on it so he could then use Truly as a bargaining chip. But then she thanked him and she said it was great. Okay, wonderful, let's do this. And will she have her own bedroom? And I think Cody was caught off guard. Christine never got a firm yes on the bedroom. She got a we will figure it out. In confessional, Christine says she would love for Cody to take Truly for a few days. She says Truly would love it. She loves going there. She loves being around her dad. And she loves going to Robin's house to play with Saul and Ari. Christine would love Cody to have a great relationship with all of her kids, she says. Cody tells Christine, the thing is, when people are losing something, if you give them something, they don't feel like they are losing something. So he wants to manipulate Truly by giving her something extra so she doesn't feel the loss so much. To me, it feels like a car salesman move, like a used car salesman move. Like the AC doesn't work in the car, but we installed these great Bose speakers for you. So that shitty AC isn't that important. I mean, you've got great sound. Think of the sound you have. Who cares about the 100-degree weather with no AC? Fuck that. You look at this Bose. You got Bose speakers. Look at this. If Cody really cared about his kids, they would have always been welcome at his primary residence at Robin's house. Figuring it out or whatever, getting her bed, maybe in her own room, maybe not, isn't giving Truly anything she should not have already. He's acting like he and Robin are doing this great thing when he should have done this all along. And he is only doing it now for his ego and for the financial and legal aspects of the dissolution of his marriage to influence Truly and to leverage her to make sure he gets what he needs from Christine on her way out. That's what it looks like. Otherwise, it would have been much more than Cody being there 3 out of 800 full days with Christine and her kids. Isabel was dying to visit her dad and siblings at Robin's house when she was recovering from her surgery, and she wasn't allowed in when the nanny was. Now, Kotex and Goblin are scrambling to get Truly a bed and do weekly visits. And it's not because Cody has a renewed interest in fatherhood. It's about what Cody gets out of this, in my opinion. Robin says in her confessional scene that when Truly is able to see Cody and spend time with him, it will be at her house with her and her kids. Robin is looking forward to it. She thinks it's going to be fun. She says she is one of those people who thinks that miracles can happen. She thinks there is always a chance that Cody and Christine could figure something out, maybe a little bit later down the line. She says you just never know. Robin doesn't know. She says maybe she is crazy for thinking that, but that's where her head goes as she laughs awkwardly. I'm sure she put this on her vision board, so there is still hope that it will manifest and Heavenly Father will fix it. All from his place in the sky, the supernatural being who knows all and sees all will perform the miracle of convincing a woman who has given her all her life for a marriage where she knows she will always get less than she deserves from her husband, and her kids will continually get less than they deserve from their father, where she isn't an equal voice and her voice is not heard, that God will perform that miracle, that Christine will be able to tolerate that to go be with her husband again. So Robin's picture-perfect vision board family will manifest into a reality and Cody can get his planet in his celestial kingdom. Perhaps Robin has hope because technically, they haven't broken the spiritual seal yet formally through the church. Even though everyone knows Christine doesn't feel she needs to do that or go through the church with her divorce because she doesn't believe in that faith any longer. But Robin seems to believe, so maybe in her mind, Shira is communicating with her telepathically that there is always hope because Christine didn't go through the church. There's always a chance. The wish hasn't manifested yet, and God will intervene, and the sun will shine on the mountains, and the angels will sing again. I'm sure Robin made a vision board just for Christine and Cody, and it's still pending manifestation though, unfortunately. Cody tells Christine he has to think about telling Truly. He just doesn't want to. Not yet. Christine doesn't want to tell Truly either, but she tells Cody Truly needs to be told. Cody tells Christine it's not crap he wants Truly to deal with at 10 years old. Kotex has lots of trouble remembering his kids' ages. Last episode again, he didn't know Isabel was turning 18. This episode, he thinks Truly is 10 and Christine corrects him. She says she knows and it's 11, but Truly is a smart kid and she's going to realize something. In confessional, Cody says he doesn't know why, but he is just really anxious about doing anything but delaying this. So he would like to find some way to get Christine to stay here in Flagstaff and just make it so that it would be easier and more convenient for him to just hang out with the kids. See how Cody is trying to be very clear about his bullshit narrative that Christine makes it difficult for him to see the kids, that it isn't convenient for him to see the kids. He wants it to be convenient for him, and I think Christine used to bend over backwards to accommodate Cody to get him over there so it was easy and convenient so that he would see the kids for the kids' sake. But now all of the kids are older. They are adults and almost adults, and it isn't Christine's responsibility to bend over backwards to make it convenient for Cody, to facilitate Cody spending time with his kids, to facilitate Cody seeing his kids. It's not her job to make it convenient for him. It's not her job to interfere in Cody's relationships with his kids. It's Cody's responsibility to nurture the relationships with his kids. It's Cody's responsibility to be present and to sacrifice to see them. Christine has nothing to do with Cody and his relationships with his kids, who are all adults or nearly adults, mostly. If Cody wants to see his kids, it's not Christine's job to make it easy and convenient for him. It's up to Cody as the father to sacrifice and to make himself present and available to all of his kids. And it's between himself as their father and them. The relationship he has with his kids is between himself and his kids. The connections and the deep bonds are up to him to nurture and maintain. It's Cody's job, it's Cody's sole responsibility, and it's on Cody alone to sacrifice and to be there, whether it's convenient on him or not, whether it's convenient for him or not. This is not on Christine. Christine isn't making it inconvenient for Cody. Christine isn't blocking access to the kids. Christine is not influencing her kids negatively against Cody. Christine isn't putting up barriers to Cody seeing his kids. Cody alone made the choice to be absent as a father, and all of Cody's relationships with his kids as their father are his responsibility alone. Again, it's not on Christine to make it so it's easy and convenient on Cody to be there. It's on Cody to go out of his way and to sacrifice, to make the effort to inconvenience himself to see his kids who are mostly adults. Christine may have facilitated things more to Cody's convenience when the kids were younger to maintain his presence in their lives. She probably did not want to hurt her kids by Cody's behavior, and Christine does all she can to facilitate and accommodate Cody having relationships with her kids. But ultimately, it's on Cody. It's Cody who has made the choice not to be there because he feels inconvenienced by the cold or inconvenienced by the hassle. When Christine wanted to involve Cody in moving Isabel to North Carolina for college, and it's a big milestone for her, he refused, making a million excuses, wondering if gas stations were even open, knowing very well that he fills his car up with gas throughout the whole pandemic. Christine told Cody, whatever you want to do, however you want to participate, we will accommodate you. She said, I will adjust my plans for you to be there with Isabel. And Cody still refused. So this bullshit notion Cody wants to spin that Christine makes it inconvenient on him so he can't be there. That's all utter bullshit. It's all lies. It's not true. Being a father isn't supposed to be convenient. If all Cody is concerned with is his convenience, maybe he should not have fathered 18 kids and married 4 women. Life isn't about convenience. Life is about struggle and effort and sacrifice. If Cody wanted convenience, he should have considered that before signing up for plural marriage and having a big family. It's interesting to me how when something happens to stroke Cody's ego, or it suits his arrogance and his pride and it makes him feel good about himself, something that is typically inconvenient for a wife or a kid becomes convenient and becomes no problem if it's something that suits his selfish interests or his ego. But if it has to do with a kid or a wife and their needs, then it becomes inconvenient. It was too inconvenient to drive Isabel to North Carolina. It was too inconvenient to sit in the cold outside to see his kids. It was too inconvenient for Cody to show up for more than 3 out of 800 full days with Christine and her kids. But it is not too inconvenient for Cody to drive across the country during the pandemic to officiate the wedding of a close friend. If Cody's ego gets adulation, he will be there. Then it's worth the inconvenience. But if Cody isn't the star of the show, if he has to sacrifice for someone else and their needs, like for example for his kids, then it becomes too great an inconvenience. I guess because Cody had no trouble taking a road trip to officiate that wedding, but he just couldn't swing making it to New Jersey for his daughter's major surgery because he wouldn't want to look like a hypocrite who breaks his own COVID protocols. And he also couldn't help his daughter make it to North Carolina because of the pandemic. But he could drive across the country to officiate his friend's wedding. One thing I've noticed with people who have similar traits to what seems to be Cody's personality type is with friends and family, they are mask off. You know how they are. You have to walk on eggshells to maneuver their moods to suit them. Now, one thing is these people who have these personality types who are very ego-driven, narcissistic, asshole-ish, they will typically, with the outside world, be completely charming, very gregarious, very social. People gravitate to them. They have a charisma, and they're completely different behind closed doors with their family. So it's not that surprising that Cody would be happy to go officiate this wedding, but he's not willing to make the effort to drive his kid to go to North Carolina to move away for the first time because he cares what the outside world thinks of him. He wants to be liked. He wants that charisma. He doesn't give a fuck what his kids think about him. They're too much of an inconvenience. They know the real Cody, and Cody can't just put on the fake charm and the charisma and have all the glory with them. They know the real Cody. So he doesn't want to be inconvenienced. He doesn't want to make the effort because it doesn't serve his ego. Janelle says in confessional that she knows that since Christine's kids have all ended up in the Salt Lake City, Utah area, that she has always wanted to go there, and Janelle gets that. She feels torn all the time because she wants to be where her kids are. Janelle says luckily she has kids here in Flagstaff, but she doesn't see anything that would keep Christine here in Flagstaff. Christine tells Cody that she's been packing up stuff, and she's been packing up the decorations slowly, packing up the stuff they don't use too often. She has been packing up all the stuff she can and putting it in the garage. And she is trying to clear up space in the garage so she can put boxes in there, and she needs Cody to take all of his stuff from the garage so that she can have space. Christine says she packed up Cody's stuff and she put it out in the garage, and she just looked this morning and he's moved some of the boxes out, but he still has tons of stuff in her garage and he needs to get his stuff all moved out. It's time. Christine suggests to Cody that he go look in the garage with her, and she will point his stuff out for him to make it easy on him, and he can pick it up anytime he likes, even if she isn't home. Cody looks totally dejected. He wants to wait on that. Cody wants to wait on telling Truly. He wants to wait on moving the boxes. He wants to create all these delays and barriers in the hopes that suddenly Christine might have a change of heart or something. I think finally it's settling in that she's going to leave. She won't be there as an asset to help pay off Coyote Pass. It might create more financial problems for him. He wants her to leave, but he also doesn't want to deal with the backlash and the consequences of that. And so now he's like, fuck, I want to delay this. I want to pray to God that there will be a miracle. Robin is probably praying overtime for this miracle. She's probably has like 20 vision boards in the back of her closet. She probably has Cody participating in the vision boards so it can manifest sooner, because they need probably the financial assets that Christine brings in. Now that she's departed, they have to figure out paying off Coyote Pass, land they couldn't pay off for 3 years among 5 adults. Now they have Janelle, Mary, Robin, and Cody to figure it out. And I don't foresee them being able to pay it off. I seriously think in Cody's mind, he is taking it slow, trying to delay everything he can, because he feels like maybe if he makes it take longer and he really belabors this process, Christine will change her mind. And if his stuff is still there and he belabors this process to the max, dragging it out, there will be more time for Christine to change her mind to accept to stay. In confessional, Cody says he doesn't want to move his stuff out. Christine moved him out. He did not want her to move him out. He didn't give her permission to move him out. He has tried to give his wives sovereignty, to feel like they have control over their lives. And in doing so, he says he made it so he has no control over his life. All the tiny violins in the world are playing for Cody. He doesn't seem to get that if one partner in a relationship wants out, it's game over. It doesn't matter what he wants. It doesn't matter if he doesn't want a divorce. Christine, the other partner in the relationship, doesn't want to be with him. It doesn't matter if he doesn't want a divorce or if he doesn't want to move out. If your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your wife, your husband doesn't want to be in a marriage with you or in a relationship with you, if they say they don't want to live with you, why would you want to be with someone who decided they are done with you, who doesn't want to be with you? Christine decided she doesn't want to do the marriage. She is done. Why should Cody have a choice or be consulted? Why should she ask him permission to be done with him? She tried to work on this marriage for years and years. Cody refused. He treated Christine like she was less than his equal. He made it clear he favored other wives more and their voices mattered more over hers. And she understood she will never be happy and fulfilled in this family system or in her marriage to Cody. And she also saw that Cody was unable to give her kids what they deserve from him as their father. She wanted out of the relationship. And when one partner is done, There is no need to stay together. You don't have to ask permission of the other person to leave. There is no need to consult that other person. She let Cody know for years. She tried hard and she advised him she was done. Even if he is not at a place where he is done and she is done, there is absolutely nothing to be done about it. If one person is done, that's it. And if Cody respected himself, he would be happy for Christine to be free and happy. And he would do what he can to make her feel stable in her new life. And he would co-parent with her and take this and have dignity about it and have respect for his ex-wife. Cody keeps saying he wasn't consulted. He didn't give permission. Listen, Christine worked on this marriage for 20 plus years and he would not budge. He is incapable of any more than what he is currently doing. There is nothing Cody can do or say or change to be different. He cannot be better than he is. He cannot give more. He is incapable. He cannot do more. He is incapable. So what did he want to be consulted on exactly? Everyone has free will, married or not. Christine decided she was done. She doesn't need his permission to be done with him or to consult him before he has to allow her to leave. He does not own her because he was spiritually married to her. This isn't out of the blue, like she suddenly put his boxes out. She warned him year after year. She voiced her needs. She communicated. She tried, and it was a one-sided effort. Cody ignored her. He dismissed her pesky voice and all the inconveniences she made for him with that voice. And now he wants to pretend that he's shocked that he wasn't consulted and that all of a sudden she is leaving. This woman has lived in a loveless marriage, married to the human equivalent of a wall for 20 plus years. She shoved her own identity, her own wants and needs down to be a part of this family and put the family first and to raise and nurture all of the kids and run the household. And she did a beautiful job. And Cody needs to really be appreciative of everything she sacrificed for the family. Whether his marriage to her worked or not, she is still the mother of his kids and he needs to respect her, and he doesn't treat her with respect, and it's fucking disgusting. They had a loveless marriage for like 25 plus years. Cody had notice. He had 20 plus years of notice about this. He just didn't pay attention and he ignored it, and that's on him. Christine did all she could possibly do to avoid this outcome. Cody did nothing to avoid it, and now he wants to bitch that he was not consulted, that he didn't give permission. Cody seems to think that because he allowed his wives sovereignty and to feel like they were in control of their lives, they took that free will and they took that independence too far, and now they marginalized him. They took away his voice. He lost his own sovereignty to give them theirs. He lost his own control over his life as if he is a victim. Notice he says he wanted his wives to feel like they had sovereignty over their own lives, to feel like they had control over their lives and their choices. But feeling like something and actually having something and being it are different. I think Cody thought he was making his wives feel like they were independent and in control, but deep down he felt he was still the one with the authority, calculating, holding all the cards, playing the game, pulling the strings. At the end of the day, in Cody's delusion, he felt he was still in charge with his little tactics and games and manipulations. But then he understood his wives have really learned to live independently and independently of him. He really isn't the sun his wives revolve around to survive. They aren't waiting for his crumbs, desperately needing them to feel secure in this situation anymore. He no longer holds that power. And Cody saying he allowed his wives so much independence and sovereignty and control over themselves and their own lives that they just took away his control that he has over his life is ridiculous. First of all, one human doesn't allow another human sovereignty. That's a really fucked up way of looking at it. Just because you marry a husband doesn't mean that their will supersedes yours. And it certainly doesn't mean that you wouldn't have control over your own life or sovereignty, even if you're in a plural marriage situation where there are 5 different adult voices who have to vote to make decisions. Cody is basically saying his wives wouldn't be able to have this independence and free will and sovereignty if he didn't allow it. And he allowed it. And he allowed it so much that now the wives have taken away his sovereignty and his choice over his own life. Who the fuck does he think he is? Like he's some kind of a god allowing his wives to have sovereignty, allowing his wives to have independence and will. Go get fucked. With some of the ways Cody talks about sovereignty and independence and patriarchy, it almost feels like he's from a place like Saudi Arabia or something. When Cody says that his wives have so much sovereignty that they've now taken away the control that he has over his own life, he doesn't mean that. He means he no longer has control over them. And when he doesn't have control over them, when their lives don't revolve around him and he isn't the ultimate priority in every home for each wife and her kids, he feels he lost his own independence, his own voice. He has been marginalized as the husband and the patriarch of this family because the wives are so independent and they no longer value him. They no longer even consider him. And Cody doesn't like that. He wants to be the ultimate authority. He wants to be the fearless leader, the patriarch, the unquestioned authority, the bottom line. And no one is interested in Cody leading. No one waits for his crumbs of attention to feel secure anymore. Cody isn't the end-all, be-all of the family. Cody feels he lost that power over his family and in each household. So when Cody says the wives are so independent that he no longer has control over his own life, what he really means is he no longer has control over them. He is no longer adored unquestioningly. People no longer blindly bend the knee, and he blames his wives' independence. He allowed them. He allowed them as if he owns them and he allows them as if they don't have their free will because they're his wives. They married him. He is now their husband. He said last episode that when his wives married him, they agreed to allow their will to run into his, meaning they agreed to bend to his will, to submit. Cody feels the issue is he allowed his wives their own will now. They no longer bend to his. Rest assured that Cody has full control over his own life. He is not a victim. No one is ignoring his voice. No one is controlling his life for him. Cody has full control over his own life. He isn't a victim who is marginalized by his independent wives. He knows that. He knows that no one took his control over his own life. No one took his free will. Cody is just pissed that his wives will no longer submit to him. He is no longer the ultimate authority. He is no longer the ultimate priority. And he wants his will to supersede his wife's will and his kids' will. And he doesn't want his wife's will and his wife's voices to be equal to his. And now they refuse anything less than equal. And Cody doesn't like it. Cody has full control over his own life. Cody is not a marginalized victim of these 4 independent women. Cody is just pissed his wives take their will and independence and that they assert their will and independence as equal to his and that his will and his voice are no longer more important and the ultimate authority. Because Cody doesn't want to compromise. This is all about control and power for Cody and Cody's ego. Cody isn't marginalized. Cody isn't a victim. Cody didn't allow his wives' sovereignty. He does not own them. They are 4 individual human beings with free will whose will and voices matter equally to his. Just because these women married Cody, it does not make him their owner and their keeper and their ultimate authority whose will they must bend to. A marriage is an equal partnership of 2 individuals with their own separate sovereignty and free will. And that is the same with polygamy too. Marrying Cody isn't entering into a patriarchy or a dictatorship. I can understand that plural marriage is a situation where there are now multiple voices, 5 voices in this case, well, now 4, and it has to be ideally a democracy where each voice is equal and heard, and not everyone will get their way all of the time. And it can feel like you have no voice and no say when everything is a 5-way vote. I can understand that it's hard for the husband in a plural marriage to do things fairly and equally with each wife and to constantly have to divide his time 4 ways or 3 ways, or to have 18 kids to build relationships with, to be present with, to nurture and invest in. But Cody signed up for this, and he says he did it for his faith. And he says he did it not to do this to be a macho pig or because he's a narcissist or an authority to 4 women. And it does suck what Cody chose, and it is hard. But just because it's hard for him and he regrets it and he's sick of not having his own time or of being spread so thin, he doesn't get to now play dictator and say, this is a patriarchy, just so he can feel like things are easier on him. He signed up for this, and it's on him to handle all of his responsibilities, and it's on him to uphold his end of the deal as a father and a husband. And he doesn't get to now dictate that his will comes first, bend the knee, or he will refuse to participate as a father and a husband just because he regrets his choice, he hates his life, he regrets the consequences of his choice, he regrets his responsibilities, he hates it, so he wants things easier on him, or he isn't going to play the game. Does Cody think it was easy on his kids to live like this? Does Cody think it was easy on his wives, the emotional roller coasters they constantly had to endure because their husband is married to 3 other women, and the wives didn't get to decide not to play the game when things got hard and inconvenient, and they suffered greatly emotionally because of this. They still raised the kids, they managed the house, they went to work. But now, because Cody regrets his choice, he wants to change the agreement so it's easy on him and things will be his way, or he just isn't playing because he no longer wants what he signed up for. So he wants to make it easy on himself because he is miserable. Cody is so weak. His wives suffered. They endured this. They did the best they could. They didn't change the rules or throw in the towel when they got sick of being married to Cody, when they got sick and tortured by playing the game of plural marriage. They were loyal. They worked hard. They stayed. They committed. Cody isn't committed. Cody wants to change the agreement, or he wants to throw in the towel. And only a pussy will sit and say he no longer has control in his own life. He's a victim because his wives won't be dictated to, because his wives won't submit to him and bend the knee, blindly, unquestioningly obeying him to make it more convenient for him to live with the consequences of the choice he now regrets. Cody is saying, if I don't get to be the king, I refuse to play with you all. Like a kindergartner at recess. And everyone is fine with that. And Cody is pissed that the wives aren't breaking a sweat, running after him every time he tries to throw a tantrum, to bend the knee, to let him play king, to make his bad choices that he regrets easier on him so he can save face. Did Cody do anything to make plural marriage easier on his wives? It seems to me all Cody wants is for everyone around him to make plural marriage more convenient and easy on him. I don't see Cody worrying about how much harder he makes plural marriage on his wives. I don't see him bending over backwards to make it easier on them. All I see him doing is pointing the finger at them, calling himself their victim, throwing a tantrum that he is no longer their son that they revolve around. He's complaining they took his own autonomy. He is their victim. But what he really means is, they no longer allow me to control them. They no longer allow me to dominate them and be the ultimate authority. They no longer make me the priority. He is upset he can no longer victimize and manipulate them. He isn't upset he has been marginalized or usurped. He is upset that he is no longer the son. No one took Cody's control over his own life. Cody isn't the victim of polygamy. Cody isn't the victim of his wives. Cody is Cody's own worst enemy. And if Cody wants to matter to his wives, if he wants to be a priority, he has to show them they matter to him and he has to prioritize them. Cody always wants adulation. He wants to be everyone's priority. He wants to be the apple of everyone's eye. It's a common theme with Cody. If he isn't the hands down hero, the best ever, if he isn't swooned over and adored to the utmost degree, he has a problem. And then he cleaves off that person who doesn't treat him like he's the best thing ever. He distances. He punishes with his absence. With Isabel, he punished her because she prioritized going to in-person school and seeing her friends over pleasing him and being held hostage in her house. And she chose in-person school over homeschooling, so Cody refused to see her, and he created hoops and barriers as to why he could not be there to see Isabel, to punish her for not prioritizing him and not doing things to his liking. It's not an appropriate position to put your child in to say you can either choose to go to in-person school for your senior year and be with your friends, or you can choose to have me in your life as your father. That's very fucked up and that's very unfair, and it's not reasonable or rational in any way. With Janelle, when she did not prioritize Cody over her sons and she refused to kick them out, Cody refused to see her and Savannah, making every excuse in the book, blaming them, knowing full well it was his choice not to be there and that this absence was a punishment for not being the priority at Janelle's house. If Cody isn't the adored, fearless leader, that's a demerit. It's a huge transgression that you will be punished for. As if Cody's presence as a father and a husband is not an unconditional full-time job. It's only a reward for good behavior. It's abusive and it's manipulative as fuck. And Cody is no victim. Cody is Cody's worst enemy, and Cody is responsible for his choices. And Cody is responsible for his behavior. His behavior is his responsibility. His presence in the lives of his wives and kids is his responsibility. And no choice or decision a wife or a kid makes has any bearing on Cody's ability and choice to be there and to be present. This is on Cody and just Cody. It's not on anyone else. Cody asks Christine if she is going to want her food storage, and Christine says it's not hers. It was paid for with the family account. And Cody says some of it is Christine's because it was the family's. And Christine tells Cody to just take the food storage. She will start over. They flash back to season 1 where Christine explains their food pantry and how they buy in bulk and stock up the food storage room. Cody says the food storage thing is a very cultural thing for them. Robin explains it's taught by their church to have food in storage in case the end of the world comes. Christine explains that you need to have enough food to feed your family for when the economy collapses and when the second coming of Christ comes. Cody says it's for a flood or a snowstorm or tornadoes. Janelle says it was something that was always taught. Her mom always had a food storage and her grandma had it as well. Mary doesn't have a food storage. Janelle can see the wisdom of it, especially after the shortage of stuff on the shelves during COVID. Mary gets having extra water. She usually keeps water on hand, but she doesn't do the whole food storage thing. Cody says they bought this food storage as a family and the family works together. They have been buying their homes together and the land together. So Cody asked Christine if she wanted her share of the food storage, and Christine said no, and she thinks it's stupid. Cody asks Christine if she wants him to get it all out. And Christine makes it clear she wants him to get all the food storage out. She wants him to take everything. Christine explains that she is not part of the Mormon faith and she isn't part of their church anymore, and she doesn't know even where she stands religiously. She doesn't know, but as far as the belief in food storage and things like that, she says she isn't going to live in fear like that. Cody complains that he struggles with the rush that Christine has. He doesn't understand. He says it feels hostile to him, and he feels like Christine has done this as a backstab because she could have started talking to him about their relationship a long time ago and she didn't. And she drops this on him, and then the next thing comes, then the next thing, and it feels really rushed, Cody says. He says Christine has been ready to get out the door from the time she told him to stop staying there. Christine says for Cody, maybe it's been a rush, but for her, it hasn't been a rush. She tells Cody for her, she has been moving super slow just to accommodate him, frankly. She would have moved a lot faster. She would have told Truly months and months ago. She would have moved this summer if she were not accommodating Cody. Cody just sighs, and you can tell it's a real knife to the kidney for him. She slowed the process just for Cody to accommodate his feelings and to accommodate him adjusting. Cody wasn't ambushed by this divorce or by the boxes. He knew about this for years. Christine tried to hold on and work on their marriage for years. Cody ignored it. He buried his head in the sand, expecting he would make no effort whatsoever and that Christine would just learn to tolerate the state of things and accept it. Then, when she had light bulb moments like Cody not attending Isabel's surgery and realizing she could handle things alone, or the manipulation where Cody tried to leverage intimacy in exchange for Christine kissing Robin's ass, plus the Utah thing and on, Christine came to the realization that she could never be happy accepting less than she deserves. And she told Cody step by step, I don't want you staying here. Your boxes are in the garage. This was 20 plus years in the making, with warning after warning after warning. It was no rushed ambush. It wasn't a shock. It was slow and painful torture for Christine. Cody probably never expected Christine would ever leave formally, and he thought he could treat her any way he wished, as he wished, and she would just take it and accept it and become resigned to living in a loveless marriage. He expected her to submit. For Cody, it was unexpected, and now it's shocking and rushed because he chose to ignore this and bury his head in the sand, and he thought Christine was powerless to move or break free, that she would just take it. It was slow. Christine had years to think about this. For Cody, it may be rushed. For Christine, this was a long time coming. When Cody says this feels like a backstab, Christine did not backstab him. Cody did this to himself. He did what he always does. He buried his head in the sand, praying it would all just go away. And of course, it didn't go away. And Christine tried to work on her marriage, and she tried to work on it and work on it. But she was the only one making any effort, and it was no ambush. Cody had hundreds of warnings, hundreds of pleas. He had a wife who was more than willing to work with him to make it work if he was willing to make an effort. Cody chose not to. If one person communicates about their issues over and over and over throughout the years, and the other person ignores it, hoping it just goes away as if by magic, not wanting to be inconvenienced, it's not a hostile backstab from out of the blue. Cody knew about this. He refused to make an effort. He ignored it, and he is pissed Christine didn't just learn to tolerate things as they were with zero effort or acknowledgement from him. And now he wants to say, oh, it's rushed, it's a backstab, it's an ambush, I'm betrayed. When it's been years and years and years of talking to a wall for Christine. Cody chose to be willfully ignorant and ignore it over and over and over. This isn't rushed. It's been over 20 years in the making. It was Cody's choice to ignore it and make no effort. It was Cody's choice not to value his wife and the heart of his family. Cody says Christine could have started talking to him about their relationship a long time ago, and she didn't, and now she is doing this. But remember Galveston? That was like a decade ago, maybe more. And they brought Nancy, the therapist, on their anniversary trip. And Christine was begging Cody to discuss their marriage and to improve their relationship. That's why the therapist was there on that anniversary trip to help them as husband and wife. And all Cody wanted to do was talk about the family and deflect. And he wasn't willing to address his relationship to Christine. Christine was married to the human equivalent of a wall. Even the therapist got bulldozed. Christine told Cody over and over and over. Cody ignored it. In Becoming Sister Wives, Cody even admits himself that he ignores issues, hoping they will just go away. Mary writes of Cody, when they have issues, he is happy to just stop talking about the issue and move on, never discussing it and considering it dealt with. And Christine writes of Cody in Becoming Sister Wives, during our first fight, which was predictably about the fact that I thought he divided his time unfairly between his wives, he just put his head in his hands and covered his face. It was as if he was trying to make it all go away. He didn't have the emotional tools to deal with the needs of 3 wives. See, Cody likes things convenient. He hates inconvenience, especially with communication and emotions. Cody is emotionally lazy. If there is an issue or a wife comes to him, he grows angry and he refuses to validate his wife's emotions. He ignores it, expecting it to just go away, expecting his wives to just put up with it and change their mindset about it because he isn't going to make an effort. He isn't even going to regard their issue. He isn't going to do anything. He expects the wives to just put up with it. Christine and Cody had these problems their whole marriage, and Cody always wanted it to just go away. He wanted to avoid it and he wanted to hide from it. He wanted to ignore it. So Christine told Cody year after year, she warned him, she worked hard. She pleaded for Cody to make an effort too. And Cody refused to be inconvenienced. He says she never warned him. They never talked about their relationship. But that isn't true. She talked a lot and Cody refused to listen. Cody refused to hear it. Last episode, Janelle even mentioned how she told Cody many times about the RV, and Cody acted like he was shocked when she actually bought it, and she doesn't know if Cody pays attention and listens when she speaks because she had mentioned this to him many times. They had many conversations and discussions about her getting the RV. So I think that Christine told Cody over and over and over, and Cody ignored it over and over and over, and now he wants to act like she never told him when it's he himself who refused to listen and to hear it. Christine explains that September was always the goal for moving, and she has told Cody that for months, and now her life is in limbo, and she isn't going anywhere until she waits for September when she can sell and move. Christine agrees to wait on talking to Truly. Cody wants to wait to get things arranged. Christine says in the end, she still isn't going to tell Truly because Cody isn't ready to tell Truly, and she wants to play nice and she wants to play fair because she and Cody need to be a team, and they need to move forward as a team because they will be co-parenting Truly for the rest of her life. Notice how Christine is very interesting in being a team with Cody still for the kids' sake, in order to raise Truly, in order to help with issues with the kids, in order to co-parent for the kids' sake. She still wants to be a united team as parents to co-parent. That doesn't seem like the kind of woman who is sitting at home bitter, manipulating and influencing her kids, poisoning the well against their father. Now, does it? That doesn't go with Cody's narrative. Who are we more apt to believe? Do we believe Christine or do we believe Cody? I believe Christine. There is no way in hell she's putting on a show, but I do believe Cody is putting on a show. Cody says in confessional, the thing is, if Christine has been thinking about this for a long time, then she makes the decision and she presents it to him and she wants him to answer right now, and he isn't ready to make a decision right now about Truly. He would prefer at this moment not to tell her. Well, really, it's not about Cody and his feelings. This is about doing what is in the best interest of Truly and putting Truly first. That means Truly and her feelings come ahead of Cody and his feelings. And what's best for Truly comes ahead of Cody and his feelings and Christine and her feelings. Christine undoubtedly prioritizes Truly. Cody wants to put off telling Truly because he wants to prolong the process of Christine leaving in the hopes that Christine changes her mind, or maybe she'll decide it'll just be a separation and not a full divorce. But Christine has made a final decision, and all the older kids know, all of the moms know, Robin has told her younger kids, so inevitably it will get out and Truly will feel deceived and betrayed if she finds out in the wrong way. So if Cody really cares about Truly and her best interests, he would have manned up and went over how they would introduce this topic, and they would sit and go together to talk to Truly, and they would go through how they planned on telling her, and they would tell Truly in a sensitive, loving environment, in a sensitive manner. And because Cody refused to tell Truly because of his own delusions, Truly found out accidentally, and it created more stress and trauma and pain for her. If Cody had agreed to sit with his ex-wife and tell Truly, rather than wanting to be a diva who needs time when everyone but Truly knows about this, and it's a precarious situation, and Truly would have found out in a much easier way if Cody was willing to set his feelings aside to prioritize Truly and listen to Christine and talk to her sooner rather than later. Instead, it had to be more difficult and stressful on Truly because Cody insisted on waiting to tell her, even though the whole world knew but her. And she's a smart girl. Cody wanted to be difficult, and he wanted to wait to tell Truly, and he wanted to wait to process, just to be a thorn in Christine's side and because of his delusions. And Truly had to then find out in a way that was more traumatizing to her. It was way more stressful than it had to be because Cody didn't agree to tell Truly with Christine sooner rather than later. So Truly accidentally overheard her mom's conversation, and she found out about the move, and then she found out about the divorce. If Cody just said yes, Truly should know, she is the last to know, let's break the news, let's discuss our game plan, and let's talk to her together. And if Truly found out in a controlled way, in a safe environment with her mom and dad there, when Christine was prepared to tell her, it would have been much easier on Truly. And Truly didn't get that experience because Cody insisted on waiting. Next, Janelle and Cody are staying in Parowan at Mary's B&B. They made it there last night. Cody, Janelle, and the trailer, because now they're bringing the trailer across the country to Coyote Pass. This was the first time that Janelle has stayed there in the inn because it's haunted, and Janelle isn't a fan of ghosts. Janelle doesn't do haunted. They flash back to a scene of Mary giving a tour of the inn, saying that there's a ghost who likes to chill in the corner of a room on the chair. Janelle says there are rumors at the inn that it's haunted, and it's a wonderful place, and she did not see a ghost, by the way. Mary is glad that Cody and Janelle are happy customers. They are free customers who didn't pay, but they also didn't get breakfast, because if they aren't going to pay, they aren't getting breakfast. Cody likes a specific room that has its own entrance, and he suggested that if Mary wants help with her mortgage, he would buy that room, jokingly. And Mary says Cody would have to make a really good, sweet deal with her. He would have to make it worth her while to make that room permanently his. And Mary jokes that she could definitely make an arrangement with him if that's what he wants, but he probably wouldn't be open to that arrangement. I wonder if what Mary wants is some intimacy. Mary says it's a very popular room that Cody happens to love. After Mary's mom's death, Mary closed the inn for a couple of months, and they opened back up 3 weeks ago. So Mary travels back and forth a lot, and she has a friend who may help her out for the summer, but she doesn't know for sure yet. Mary takes a tour of the RV, and she says Janelle is excited about the RV, but they couldn't open all the pop-outs yet. But it's brand new, it looks nice. Cody doesn't know how this will play out. Cody likes the idea of living on the property. That's exciting to Janelle, but Cody doesn't want to live in the trailer, and he wishes Janelle would have found a house. Well, when Janelle asked Cody initially if he would stay with her in the trailer on her nights, he said yes, and he said yes on camera, and now he's changing his tune. That's not fair to Janelle, but mostly who it's unfair to is Savannah. If he respected Janelle at all, if he respected Savannah at all, and he knew he wasn't willing to stay in a trailer and he would at least come by maybe at least once a week to see them for a couple hours, and he knows he will only do it at a house. He should have said, I'm not going to come over at all unless you find a house. And I think that would have been unfair and it would have been inflexible, but that's preferable to what he's doing here. He allowed her to believe he would stay in the trailer. He manipulated her. He said, yes, I will stay in the trailer with you. Then he got the trailer, made 1,000,001 excuses as to why it's bad. It's too small. It's too big. Then it's too small. It's too tiny. The dogs are on the bed. He's going to come up with 1,000,000 reasons why he can't stay in that trailer. If he always knew his intention would never be to stay there, he should have just fucking said it instead of saying, yes, I will stay in the trailer. It's not just that he wishes Janelle would have found a house. It's that he's not going to show up there because Janelle didn't find a house and he prefers a house for himself. Even though he told Janelle clearly on Coyote Pass, she said, will you stay with me in the trailer? You're going to stay there, right? And he said, yeah, I'll stay there with you. Cody explains to Mary he needs to rush back to Flagstaff so he can test. He's been too many places, he says. In confessional, Janelle says Cody doesn't feel like he can be away from the little kids at Robin's house for more than 2 or 3 days at a time. So their trips are always constrained by that. So Cody has to hurry and get home so he can do a rapid test to make sure he is not carrying COVID so he can get home to Saul and Ari. Cody says he has been away from the kids for quite a while and he is still trying very hard to protect his younger kids, and he really appreciates when his wives will allow him to protect his younger children. He appreciates wives who are supporting him with just trying to be careful with what's going on with COVID. Mary says her relationship with Cody has not improved as far as a husband and wife relationship. It's not something Cody is interested in, so it is what it is. It's where they are. Cody feels like his relationship with Mary is very good, but it's not a married situation. It's an amiable relationship, but he doesn't think it's a fulfilling relationship for Mary, not in any way. Cody says right now he is in the gall of bitterness with Christine. And on the other hand, he has a fondness for Mary because he and Mary are getting along. And he doesn't know what is healed, but he is not feeling betrayed by Mary. He feels betrayed by Christine. First of all, notice Cody's verbiage here. He appreciates the wives who allow him to protect his younger children. He appreciates the wives who are supporting him with trying to be careful with COVID. He says he appreciates the wives who allow him to protect his younger kids. He is suggesting his wives allow him or forbid him to do things as if they have control over him and he is the marginalized victim of his wives. When Cody knows damn well he only does what he wants to do. He only does what he is willing to do, and he only does what is convenient for him. His wives have no say in allowing him and forbidding him from doing anything. They do not override his will. They do not allow Cody. Cody is a grown man with a free will who decides for himself. So painting it as his wives allowing him like he is a victim is ridiculous. He appreciates the wives who support him in trying to be careful with COVID. He means he will favor wives and he will be willing to show up and phone it in. He will be willing to give crumbs and show up in a low-level capacity as a father and a husband as a reward to those who obey him and follow his protocols. Cody's appreciation is basically him showing up and barely being engaged for a few hours, maybe twice a week. Cody's appreciation is barely pretending to do the basics as a husband and a father as a reward for obedience. Cody assumes anyone who does not follow the protocols his nanny created to keep her employment is not supporting him and is not being careful and is not supporting him protecting the kids, even when they follow the CDC guidelines, which are more appropriate than the rules his nanny created. Anyone who does not obey Cody and do his rules, Cody views as not supportive of him when they are actually doing what is more appropriate to protect against COVID with the CDC guidelines. So they are all supportive of protecting the younger kids in the family. They're all supportive surrounding COVID. They all take it seriously. Just because they refuse to be dictated to on how to live under Cody's protocols, being held hostage in their homes in order to follow those protocols, it does not mean they are doing nothing or that they are not being careful and protective and supportive. Cody just assumes if they aren't following his orders on his protocols, they are not doing anything, when what they are doing by following CDC guidelines in reality is actually more effective than the nanny's rules. Cody assumes the wives aren't taking precautions, that they aren't being careful, when the CDC guidelines are the best precautions there are, and they are certainly superior to what Kotex and the nanny came up with. It's interesting that for Christine, when she needed Cody to help tuck the kids in a few nights a week, he said he couldn't be there because it wasn't fair to the other wives and kids for her needs to affect his time with his other wives and kids. It was asking too much. But when it comes to Robin and her expectations and her kids not being able to be away from him for more than 2 or 3 days, Cody has no problem accommodating Robin, even if it affects his time with his other wives and kids. He has no problem if Robin's expectations that he is only away from Sul and Ari for 2 to 3 days constrains his time or trips or investment with his other wives or kids. Janelle had to make sure this was a short trip so Cody would not be away from his kids with Robin for more than that 2 or 3 day time limit. It wasn't a problem for Cody that Robin's needs and expectations affected his time with Janelle and put constraints on their trip, and it puts constraints on all of the trips he takes with his wives and kids. That is unfair to all of Cody's other wives and kids, this 2 to 3 day time limit expectation that Robin has, that Cody can accommodate with no problem for Robin. But when Christine needed Cody to take 30 minutes a few times a week to just tuck their kids in, when he was living in the same house as her, Cody was unwilling and unable to accommodate Christine because it would be unfair to the time he gets with each wife and her kids during their nights on the rotation. He said it was not fair. He could not do it because it would interfere, and it was Christine asking too much. But for Robin, Cody takes no issue if having constrained 2 or 3 day trips affects his fair and equal time and investment with the other wives or his other kids, or how that constraint of Robin's affects and infringes on his fair and equal time with everyone else in the family. And everyone else in the family has to make allowances in their time with Cody to suit Robin and her expectations. Cody can't be away from Sul or Ari for more than 2 or 3 days. But he was only able to make it to Christine's time with his kids for 3 full days out of 800 days. And once on those 3 full days, he brought Robin's kids with him to his time with Christine and their kids because he had to babysit. So it's more than okay for Robin and her expectations and needs to infringe on Cody and his time with his other wives and kids. They will just have to make allowances for Robin during their time, and it will have to be constrained. But Cody could not make the effort for Christine. It was asking way too much to tuck the kids in for 30 minutes a few times a week to alleviate Aspen at 10 years old from having to do it, because it would infringe on his time with his other wives and kids. It was asking too much. It was unfair. So why is Robin different from Christine? Why does Cody make allowances for Robin? And why do all the other wives and kids have to accept that 2 or 3 day time constraint, infringing on their time, when Christine asking for 30 minutes or less a few nights a week to tuck his kids in when they all lived in one house was too much of an ask from Christine and too much of an infringement for Cody on his time with his other wives and kids back then? Why is Robin different? Why does she get different treatment standards? Why do her kids get different treatment? And why is it okay to impose her expectations on Cody's time with his other wives and kids, but it wasn't okay for Christine? Why the different standards? Why does one wife matter more than the other? Now, ex-wife. There is a hierarchy in place with Cody and the wives, and Janelle has denied it in earlier seasons, Cody as well, of course. But Cody favors wives who make things easy and convenient on him. He favors those who obey him, and those wives he shows appreciation to by being present and showing up to reward that household with his presence as a father and a husband for good behavior. Cody has a clear favorite wife, Robin, and he gives the lion's share of his time to her and her kids in her home, which is his primary residence. Robin has been praised by Cody for her obedience and for the way she forces her kids to obey Cody. Cody calls that respect, saying her kids respect him. Really, they just blindly obey and keep on stroking that ego over and over and over, and Cody gets to feel like the man of the house and the adored hero. He feels like the hands down priority to everyone in that house. Christine has said when she lived in the basement of the house in Lehigh, she felt like the basement wife, the wife lowest on the totem pole. Mary was the wife lowest in the pecking order. And when a wife does something to be inconvenient to Cody, when they question Cody or they express themselves, Cody then has 3 other wives to turn to and focus on. And whoever is most pleasing and convenient will catch Cody's eye at the time. Mary was lowest in the pecking order after her catfish sitch. And Cody has made it clear episode after episode, season after season, that he and Mary do not have a marriage relationship. They don't hook up. He doesn't include Mary in the rotation. Things aren't fair and equal as they should be with all of Cody's wives and kids. Cody doesn't divide his time equally among all 4 households, 3 now. He will show up for those who are convenient and obedient as a reward for those who are inconvenient. For those who question, Cody just refuses to show up at all. And that is Cody's choice. But it's interesting that Mary, who was lowest in the pecking order after her emotional affair, has now surpassed Christine in the pecking order. He makes it clear now Mary is higher in the hierarchy than Christine. He refuses to admit he has a favorite wife. He refuses to admit there is a hierarchy. But here he says it. Cody says right now he is in the gall of bitterness with Christine. On the other hand, he has a fondness for Mary because he and Mary are getting along and he doesn't know what has healed, but he is not feeling betrayed by Mary, but he feels betrayed by Christine. Because Christine is now highest on Cody's shit list, see how he is consciously shifting his favor to Mary? Now, all of a sudden, he is more fond of Mary because he is bitter with Christine. He shifts the bad wife he resents most to Christine now, and he gives Mary more favor, a higher standing with him. He says he doesn't know what is healed, but he has a fondness for Mary. He no longer feels betrayed by Mary. He feels betrayed by Christine. See, Cody knows he is manipulative and he knows he can be bitter with one wife and show favor in other places with other wives to manipulate relationships and dynamics and situations to his liking for his convenience. Now, all of a sudden, because Christine is leaving, he feels a fondness for Mary. He doesn't feel betrayed by Mary anymore. He feels betrayed by Christine. There will always be a wife he puts at the top of his shit list. And now Mary he is fond of and he gets along with amicably. He no longer feels betrayed by her because Mary decided to stay. And Mary follows his protocols, just hoping he will give her some crumbs. And now that Christine has done the ultimate betrayal of leaving him, and because of the dent he has taken to his ego, he now has decided not to be angry with Mary because Mary stayed and Christine is leaving. The ultimate betrayal, the ultimate rejection. Cody knows he can treat Mary like absolute shit. And she will stay, and she will stay, and she will take it, and she will hope for better. But Christine will not stay. She won't take it. And Cody needs Mary now because Christine is leaving. He knows once they don't build on Coyote Pass, Janelle will leave. But Mary will stay. And I think eventually, in years and years and years, I'm talking, Mary will leave. And I think her mom passing and Christine leaving and possibly Janelle leaving will make Mary slowly reevaluate her situation, and it will make her thinking start shifting to come through the processing of coming to terms with actually leaving and accepting the spiritual ramifications of that for her. I think Christine leaving will be more eye-opening for Mary than we think. But Cody will now pay Mary more attention, and Robin will start showing up at Mary's house. They need Mary now to keep the show going and for Cody's salvation in the afterlife and probably financially as well. So I think we will see Cody paying Mary more attention, even just as a friend. And we will see Robin trying to solidify her sister wifehood with Mary, because Cody and Robin will need her financially and spiritually and to keep the show going. It's not sister wives with just Cody and Robin. Once Janelle decides she's had enough and no progress is made on the land that they have yet to pay off. See how Cody has a hierarchy and how he manipulates the dynamics within it by showing favor to different wives based on how happy he is with their behavior and obedience level. All of a sudden, magically, there is healing going on for Cody with Mary. And because Christine's betrayal was more egregious than the catfish stitch to Cody, he has decided magically that he no longer feels betrayed by Mary when he bitched about it season after season after season. It's an ego boost for Cody to know, regardless of how shitty he treats Mary, regardless of anything he does, she will stay. She will stick around. It does wonders for Cody's ego. And he knows Mary deep down still has some hope and some love for him. And he knows he can use that to his advantage later on if he needs somewhere to go, a place to complain when things sour with Robin. Christine is replacing Mary as the focus for all of Cody's ire and resentment, because her leaving is the biggest blow to his ego yet. It's the biggest blow to his self-esteem. He will never be the hero with her or her kids. He will never be the revered patriarch. He will never be the authority to blindly obey. And if people don't see Cody as their fearless, faultless, honored hero and leader who can do no wrong, if they refuse to see Cody how he delusionally thinks he should be seen and how he perceives himself, how he wants to be seen, how he views himself in his own arrogance through his ego, then he has no need for you in his life. He needs Mary, so now Mary isn't as high on his shit list, and Christine will get the brunt of his negativity and toxicity. And she will be out the door, moving to Utah shortly. Now, Cody has given Mary a promotion. Now Robin will swoop in to be Mary's sister again, and Cody will be more friendly. I doubt he will ever be a husband to her, but he needs her help to pay off Coyote Pass. He needs her to hang in there for the spiritual implications and to keep a sister wife around for the show. He probably knows, realistically, Christine's departure will inspire Janelle, and it might inspire Mary on some level too. Cody would love for them all to go. I believe he ultimately wants monogamy with Robin. That's his goal that his family is an obstacle to. But Cody also needs to keep the show going, and he needs more than one wife for that, and he also needs Mary's financial contribution to the family. And he is on the hook for that land financially, and it's a huge burden and it's a big hole to be in. So he needs Mary now, and he knows it. And because he has someone else to direct his anger at, it's advantageous to him to be more lenient on Mary now. Just like it will be advantageous to Robin to show up and want to be close to Mary now. How else will Cody and Robin pay for the nanny and the mansion and the lifestyle they have become accustomed to and somehow pay off the land? When Robin really doesn't like to work other than filming, and Cody's gun crap probably doesn't bring in the big bucks. If it was that successful and that stable of an income, he would have the land paid off by now. It wouldn't have taken 3 years with 5 adults still not figuring out how to pay that thing off. He wouldn't be sweating bullets, paranoid that Christine was going to marry a man who will help her take him to the cleaners. It seems to me that Cody has about as many coins as the strands he has left on the sides of his head, or he wouldn't be so irrational with his worries. Cody and Janelle go over to park the RV at Coyote Pass. It's a big day for Janelle. It's exciting. Janelle says her strategy was that she bought the RV because she wants to move onto the property and put all her time and money and resources into building a house. So she is building the garage with a small living space above it, and she plans to have it done within a year. Cody and Janelle's two sons were helping park the trailer. Gabe and Garrison have found apartments to rent because there won't be room for them in the trailer. Notice how Cody wanted his sons evicted from Janelle's rental house because he said that was the reason he couldn't come over. And now that his sons aren't even there and they're not a problem and they have their own apartments and whatever, and their social lives aren't affecting Cody's safety as far as going over to visit Janelle and Savannah with his COVID paranoia, he is finding other reasons why he can't make it over to Janelle's. Now that Gabe and Garrison are out of the picture and all he wanted, I gotta evict them, my own kids. And now they're out of the picture. They've gotten their apartments. He's gotten what he wanted. They have their own places, and he's still finding reasons not to come over. You notice that. First, it was Gabe and Garrison who were the problem. Now Gabe and Garrison are out, and he still has a problem. The trailer is too small. It's too cramped. There's no hot water. He's not going to pay for Janelle's choices. The dogs are on the bed, and he's going to come up with a million other reasons too. I think Janelle is calling Cody's bluff. I think she totally knows Cody has no intention to really build on the land. I think she has seen the pattern Cody has with Christine and Mary, and she is over it, and she is done with Cody's attitude and behavior. So she got the mobile fifth wheel and she put it on the land to see if Cody means business and if Cody will move onto the land so she can build. If he doesn't succeed in making progress, she will have nothing to keep her in Flagstaff, and she will be mobile and she can move on with convenience. I seriously think Janelle knows Cody isn't going to build or live there, and she is pushing him knowing what the result will be. I also noticed that last episode when they checked out the fifth wheel for the first time, Cody said the fifth wheel was small. Now, as he is parking it, he says it's so big he's having trouble maneuvering. Later, he says the trailer is too small. He's not living there. He won't suffer for Janelle's choices. The kitchen is too small. The bathroom is too small. But before, when Janelle asked Cody if he intended to stay there with her, if he would be willing to stay there with her, he said yes. He didn't say maybe. He didn't say I'll think about it. He said yes. He's always contradicting himself. Does Cody think the trailer is big, or does he think it's small? It's too big for him to park and maneuver easily, but too small for him to live there. He will live there, then he won't live there. He won't suffer for her choices. It's tiny. He seems to blow like a leaf in the wind, this way or that, and his opinion seems to change according to his moods and what suits him. When the RV is too big to maneuver easily and park, and he struggles parking it a bit, it's big, it's huge, the trailer is so big. So it's not his lack of driving skills, it's that the trailer is big. But when it comes to living in the trailer, it's too small, it's too cramped. He tells Janelle he's willing to live there, he can live there. And now he refuses to suffer for her choices because in reality, he just doesn't want to see Janelle. He doesn't want to live there. He doesn't care to go over there. It's an obligation he doesn't want. So he will come up with any excuse in the book. I don't think Cody ever had any intention of staying with Janelle regularly, regardless of where she lived, whether she lived in another rental or she lived in a home she owned or she lived in an apartment or if she lived in a mansion. It doesn't matter. I think Cody would have found a problem with whatever it was. Even if they decided on the home together, he would still have a problem. Janelle could have allowed Cody to pick the house himself. He would have still come up with a reason why he can't be there. Cody will make any excuse he can. He will grasp at straws to make excuses because he doesn't want to be there and he wants to make an excuse to not be there. If Cody wanted to be there, he would be there. And if he cared about his kid and his wife, he would show up, whether they lived in a shanty or a teepee or a mansion. It wouldn't fucking matter. Cody just wants an excuse to not be there, and then he wants to justify it in his own mind, and he wants to punish Janelle and Savannah through Janelle by refusing to be there because he was not consulted on this, or he claims he wasn't consulted on this, when I'm sure Janelle had conversation after conversation with Cody about getting the RV, and he just wasn't paying attention, and he was like, okay, yeah, whatever, without really thinking it through. Cody knows he only shows up sporadically, maybe once a week, maybe sometimes for just mere hours, phoning it in a pissy mood because he doesn't want to be there. Cody doesn't like Janelle making the decision because he is pissed he wasn't important enough to defer to on all matters before she even thinks for herself. He wants to think for her and make all the decisions as the ultimate authority. The fact that she chose her home without consulting him, which she did consult him, but in his mind, she probably didn't. When he checks in and out as if he is renting a room at the Roadway Inn and it probably isn't his home by any means, pisses him off. It signifies to Cody that he isn't Janelle's authority. He isn't her patriarch. He wasn't consulted in his mind. But she told Cody she was doing this. They had discussions about it, more than one. And he seemed to dismiss her and ignore her and not really listen. He wasn't really there. He wasn't invested and present in the conversations. He was probably there out of obligation. If he cared, he would pay attention when she speaks. And maybe the fact that she bought the RV wouldn't have been such a shock for him because I'm sure she told him multiple times. Cody is having trouble backing up the RV and he explains, wow, this is so big. This isn't going the way I thought it would, about backing up the fifth wheel and parking it on the property. He had to pull off onto the road and he admits he's having a hard time getting this thing backed up. Janelle says since the road is built up to protect from the water runoff, if one wheel went off the road because it's so heavy, it would be hard to get it back onto the road. Cody says if he went off the edge wrong, they could probably roll the trailer back onto its side. Janelle thinks it's good and that Cody did a good job. Gabe thinks it's good too. And Cody complains that it's not straight. Janelle says it looks good. It's straight and it's positioned. She says Cody was an ace at driving this thing. Janelle now has to hook up a generator and water tanks. There is a lot to be done still. Cody says he would have never bought this RV, bitterly in confessional. They show a photo of the happy couple, Cody and Janelle. Janelle looks so beautiful in this picture. She is so photogenic. And she looks like she's standing next to the mad scientist. Cody complains that if he and Janelle were a normal monogamous couple, they would have had to come to an agreement on this. He says it feels pushed and thrust on him in some ways, like this is what we are going to do. Janelle is letting him know. And he says that's how he looks at it, like, oh, I'm forced into living in an RV. Cody says he isn't kicking and screaming, but it wasn't ever really a choice for him. It's just what Janelle did. Victim much? I think it's very telling that Cody says if he and Janelle were a normal monogamous couple, they would have come to an agreement on this. What's interesting is that he says normal monogamous couple. That indicates a few things to me. That he doesn't consider himself and Janelle to be a normal couple, and that he classifies and considers monogamy as normal. So he is a polygamist. He has lived plural marriage his whole life. He is familiar with the community and the lifestyle and the faith, but he seems to consider it abnormal for himself. As a polygamist man, he seems to classify monogamy as normal to him. Is it because he has realized he prefers monogamy and he would prefer to just be with Robin? He realizes maybe that monogamy is intuitive. It's natural for him. He enjoys it more. And now he dislikes plural marriage so much, and it goes against every fiber of his being to go through the motions and live in this lifestyle. And he feels obligated to it, and I think he feels burdened by it. And maybe he wishes for something that he would classify as normal, like monogamy. Why doesn't he classify he and Janelle as a normal couple? Is it simply because they are within a polygamous system as a couple? Are they not a normal couple because he isn't intimate with Janelle? Do they not act as a normal couple in Cody's perception because she does not submit to him and allow him to sign all the checks and make the orders for every choice she makes because he is not the son for her? I don't think Cody understands a typical monogamous relationship. It's hard work. It's compromise. In a real relationship, the husband views his wife as his equal, and he doesn't expect full submission and obedience with very little voice from his wife and very little compromise from both sides. If Cody thinks the version he has of monogamy with Robin is normal or ideal, he is wrong. Does he think monogamous wives have to ask their husbands what they can do and what they can buy for every single thing, as if most monogamous wives don't have their own money independent of their husband? Even when the wife doesn't have her own money, most monogamous wives don't have to ask their husband to agree and sign off with every little decision and every little thing that they do, as if a wife can't breathe without permission. That's not how it works. Cody is complaining that Janelle doesn't compromise. She just does what she wants. She doesn't even consider him or ask him. She just acts unilaterally. Her choices are just made and shoved on him with no consideration for him. But does Cody compromise for Janelle? Does Cody even listen when she speaks? She told him for months what she planned on doing, that she planned on buying the RV. And she actually did it. And she was surprised when Cody seemed shocked that she bought the fifth wheel because she had been mentioning it to him for months over several conversations. Cody just didn't listen when she spoke. He doesn't care. I think he is probably just there because he feels he has to be, but his heart isn't in it fully. He isn't fully invested. He just goes through the motions when he has to be with any other wife in any other house but at Robin's. This wasn't pushed on Cody. It wasn't forced on him or thrust on him. Cody says Janelle never gave him a choice, but she had several conversations with her husband over months. She gave him a choice. She asked him if he would stay there in the RV with her, and he said yes. Then he said no, but initially he said yes. Cody says he has such high morals and standards that no one can ever reach those standards and expectations but him. Yet he flip-flops all the time. He can never stick to his word, and most of the time, the words he says don't match the actions that he makes, or he contradicts himself. Cody isn't a victim of the domineering, overzealously independent Janelle who has forced him into this. He ignored Janelle. He didn't listen when she spoke. He didn't pay attention. She followed through with what she had been saying for months. She got the RV, and he was only there maybe one night a week at best, if that, maybe for a few hours. So why should she base her choices on him when he stays like a house guest just traveling through? He wasn't forced into this. They had conversations for months. Did Cody ever tell her during any of those conversations that he won't stay with her if she lived in the RV? Because on camera, he told Janelle, yes, he will stay with her, and then he changed his tune. In August, Isabel is moving to North Carolina to go to school. She's going to live with Maddie and Caleb. Isabel is packing, and she's going to be babysitting for Maddie and Caleb. Maddie and Isabel are very close, and Isabel has a great bond with Axel and Evangeline. Mary says Christine has always been close with Madison. So it doesn't surprise Mary that Isabel is going to go live with Caleb and Maddie despite Christine leaving Cody. It's not weird to Mary at all. Christine says that Gwendolyn's humor is 90% of the time inappropriate and uncomfortable. And Isabel is stressed out with her packing that Christine doesn't know what this is going to do. Gwendolyn announces that she's bisexual, and Christine says when Leo told them that they were gay, immediately she thought, oh, so is Gwen. She knew immediately, and they have had great conversations about it. Gwen teases her mom, Christine, about her female celebrity crushes, suggesting maybe her mom is partially gay. Christine says she isn't gay, but Gwen loves teasing her about it. Christine says she likes Blake Lively, Kelly Clarkson, and Emily Blunt. She says they're beautiful, she can't help but admire them, and it would only go that far. She is definitely heterosexual, she says. Christine explains that Cody got Isabel a good, reliable car to drive across country. Christine talked to Cody and invited him to do it with them and to help Isabel move across the country. But Christine says she would totally adjust whatever plans if Cody could come or if he wanted to come, but he isn't coming with them. Notice how Cody wants to paint the narrative that Christine blocks access to the kids, she makes it inconvenient, blah, blah, blah bullshit. And how here Christine mentions she invited Cody to join them for an important milestone in their daughter Isabel's life. And Cody couldn't be there. He didn't want to be there, despite the fact that Christine would adjust whatever plans they have to make it easy for Cody to be there, to make it convenient for him. And Cody refused. Yet earlier, Cody complained that Christine was making it inconvenient for him to see his kids. In confessional, we have Christine explaining that she would change her plans. And in the episode where she and Isabel asked Cody to help Isabel move and Isabel revealed she was moving to North Carolina, Christine told Cody then they would accommodate him. They would change their plans to suit him and do whatever he wanted, whatever was convenient for him, provided he would be there. And Cody said then he wouldn't commit. He didn't know how the pandemic would be in August. He wondered if the gas stations would be open. When he knows, he fills his cars up with gas regularly, and he has been most likely during the pandemic, unless that's the nanny's job. And if he doesn't do it, the nanny does it. And I'm sure Robin has to fill the soccer mom van she must drive. I wonder if she borrows Cody's Karen sun visor in the van. It's interesting that the family patriarch, the protector of all the kids in the family, as Cody mentions he is on repeat, was unable to make it again to a major life event for Isabel. During her major surgery, he was unable to make it to move her to North Carolina for college. He blamed the pandemic and an odd fear about gas stations being open. Unless there's an impending zombie invasion and some odd lab-created mutant super virus about to be unleashed by himself, the nanny, and his doctor, he claims made up the protocols, I don't think we're facing Armageddon. It's been the end of the world for centuries now. It's not the end of the world. I doubt it's anywhere near it. And the gas stations were open during the Rona. So I just don't know what that grasping at straws about gas stations was about. Because Cody may not have been able to make it to help his daughter move across the country for her first road trip away from home, moving away from home for the first time. He could not take that road trip with her to make memories with his daughter, but he could drive his happy ass across the country to officiate a family friend's wedding. He wasn't worried about his protocols then, or whether the gas station might not be open, or the 2 to 3 day absence limit Robin keeps like a leash around his neck. Why is Cody able to make it to the wedding where he will be the big star of the show? Why is he able to break his protocols and make the effort to be there and fight his fears of open gas stations and virus mutations to make it to the wedding, but he can't do so to make it to Isabel's major life moments, like her moving far away for the first time or her major life-threatening surgery? I thought he was a protector of the family. He was the protector of his kids. I think Cody could go to the wedding just fine because it served his ego. He was willing to be inconvenienced. He was willing to make a road trip. But moving Isabel would be an inconvenience, and Christine is on his shit list at the very top. Mary is X'd out now in red. She's crossed the fuck out, and Christine is at the top in big, bold block letters at the top of the Kotex shit list. And so Cody wants to punish Christine by punishing Isabel, and his kids deserve better from him. And if Cody is capable to drive to a wedding to be the big star and serve his ego, he is more than capable to make the choice to be there to help support his daughter and show her that she matters. Cody's ego matters more than his daughter. Other people, these other people's wedding, his friends, and Cody looking good to them, and the glory of officiating the wedding meant more than his daughter. It was worth it for Cody to go do the wedding. That meant enough to Cody. It was important enough for Cody to move his ass and be there. But he can't move his ass for his daughter. Why? Because it's inconvenient? Because it's his way of punishing Christine? How can Cody choose to officiate a wedding over the last memories of his daughter as he knows her, as she's leaving home for the first time, probably never to return? She's going to have her independent life. She's going to go to college. She's going to meet someone. She's going to move on. She's never going to go back home. Cody will never have this time with her. He had an opportunity to take a road trip, to spend time with his daughter, to solidify that relationship, to try and improve things. And he chose not to go to that, but he chose to go officiate a wedding. And he blames COVID for why he couldn't go have this moment with Isabel. Yet COVID and the pandemic is no problem when he has to officiate this wedding. Cody isn't motivated by unconditional love. Cody isn't motivated by his heart and conscience. Cody is motivated by ego and pride. He doesn't seem to like to work hard. If something doesn't benefit him directly, or if it's something that requires emotional agility or effort, if he isn't the adored hero and it's not easy for him and it's hard for Cody, and Cody has to have a real conversation and really communicate, Cody doesn't like being honest. He doesn't like getting real. He's always busy pointing fingers, deflecting, stewing in his resentment and stewing in his misery, and it blinds him from all of the blessings he has. He knows if he stops the deflection, if he stops the finger pointing, if he drops the resentment, he will look inward and he will feel the weight of the mistakes he has made, and he will feel the damage he has done to his family and to almost every familial relative that he has. And he will see his faults and his responsibility and the weight of it all, and he doesn't want to feel that, and he doesn't want to face it. It wouldn't feel good for him to reckon with himself honestly, authentically. And he does all of this finger pointing and resentment and deflection and projection to procrastinate in getting to the last layers. And that is looking in. And until Cody levels with himself, there is no hope for any type of realization or improvement for Cody or for any of his relationships. I can't believe that Cody can move his ass to go to this wedding, but he couldn't move his ass to go to New Jersey for his daughter's surgery, and he couldn't move his ass to help his daughter move to North Carolina and take this time to bond with her. He says anytime he spends with Isabel, he spends most of his time doing a lot of work to draw her out of herself, and he doesn't know what it is. He doesn't think that he's that big an ogre. He doesn't know why Isabel is not talking to him. He is open to her, and he just doesn't know what it is. They flash back to the scene of Cody apologizing to Isabel for not being able to go to her surgery. She tells him it's okay, and he asks, so you aren't going to become a bitter old housewife because your daddy didn't do this for you? And Isabel says no, she guesses not. In confessional, in the present, Cody says he thinks Isabel is probably hurt that he didn't go, but there are people depending on him more than just Isabel, and it just wasn't going to work in this case. He would have done it if they wouldn't have had the COVID thing, but he says once again, Christine sees this as an excuse. She sits there and talks to the kids. She has their ear. He does not have their ear. Isabel says in confessional that she would describe her relationship with her dad as fine. She says it's fine, and she says it in a very resigned way, like she's trying to be diplomatic about it. She says she's going to miss her mom more than she is going to miss her dad. And she thinks that's because they aren't close at all, but she says he is still her dad. Isabel thinks that she has been able to adjust to the idea of divorce more, and she thinks both of her parents deserve to be happy, and she doesn't think anybody can be happy in a loveless marriage. There are a couple of things that really stood out to me. Firstly, we know that Cody likes convenience. He is lazy. He hates having to do hard work or to have to make an effort to be inconvenienced. And he will come up with any ridiculous reason or excuse or barrier he can as to why he isn't doing what he should be doing, as an obvious given in his capacity as a husband and a father. So when Cody says when he sees Isabel, most of the time is spent doing the hard work of getting Isabel engaged and out of her head when she is with him, Isabel probably feels heavy around him, and she probably feels a lot of resentment towards him, and she probably has a lot of emotions regarding her dad. She probably feels very let down and disappointed and betrayed, as if she doesn't matter to her dad, as if she's not important to him or his priority. So when she sees Cody, she probably just is going through the motions, finding it very hard to connect with him because she can't have an honest conversation with her dad and communicate honestly about her feelings. Cody won't understand. He will get heated. He will get offended and say it's disrespectful. She has to probably walk on eggshells with him. So Cody is probably trying to get her to engage when they hang out, and she is distant, and he finds it to be hard. It's difficult work, and he finds it to be a really big effort to do that hard work, and he finds it to be inconvenient that she doesn't just automatically adore him with no effort on his part when they can't even have open, honest communication. And also, as a father, he let Isabel down repeatedly, disappointing her with his absence at times that are obvious givens for a father to be there, regardless of plural marriage, regardless of COVID, regardless of any of the excuses that Cody makes. There is no excuse. There is no excuse that is sufficient for why her father isn't there. Isabel can feel that she doesn't matter to Cody. She isn't important to Cody. And she can feel that Cody didn't want to be there or he would be there. And she knows she deserves better from her father. He should be ashamed of himself. How did he see her bawl in those confessional scenes, asking why she did not matter enough, saying her dad needs to get his priorities straight, obviously devastated by her father's absence at her major surgery? And how could he do it again to Isabel by not showing up to help her move away from home for the first time? That's valuable bonding time Cody could have with his daughter, since he is play acting at being Father of the Year. So why wasn't Cody there? How could he disappoint Isabel again? But he could find a way to make it to officiate that wedding, apparently, for his friends. What the fuck is up with that? Isabel is right that Cody has some very fucked up priorities. They start with an E and end with an O. Ego, ego, ego. Cody is all ego all the time. Cody doesn't like to work hard or make an effort, and with Isabel, he has to try hard. She doesn't just blindly adore him, so Cody prefers not to see her because he hates having to work at anything, especially relationships. When Cody says it's not like he is that big of an ogre, he doesn't know why Isabel isn't talking to him. First of all, that line inspired my thumbnail, and I just Googled an ogre just to look at the different depictions, thinking that would just be too easy, and maybe I could Photoshop his face onto an ogre. But fate had my back, because in the ogre search were two clip arts that happened to be very similar to Cody's outfits and poses during Cody's embarrassing pond incident. And I just laughed out loud, and I could not help myself with the thumbnail. Cody doesn't know why Isabel isn't talking to him. He doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know what it is. Maybe he should think real hard. Maybe that Karen sun visor is squeezing his brain way too tightly. I don't fucking know. He doesn't know what it is, really? Cody needs to stop lying to himself. This man lies all day long, even to himself, to his kids, to his wives, to viewers. He doesn't know what it could be. Could it be the surgery maybe that was major, life-threatening surgery that he refused to attend? Could it be that even though he knew Isabel was in severe pain every day, all day, he wanted her to wait 6 months and push back the surgery, enduring pain for longer? Probably so she would turn 18 and he wouldn't be responsible to foot the bill, or so he could attend, or how he initially suggested she travel alone at 17 and fly across the country by herself to New Jersey to do this major surgery, so major that they have to deflate a lung and push it aside to access the spine, to embed screws and fibers into her spine to straighten her spine. That's major surgery, major. And he suggested she go alone. Any father would attend their daughter's major surgery. But Isabel's father could not be there for her. And when he calls himself the patriarch of the family and the protector of the children, protector my ass. Why wasn't he there when his child was cut open on an operating table with her lung deflated as screws were being embedded into her spine? Where was Cody then? Why was he not there protecting his child who was in the most danger in that moment, since he's the protector and the patriarch? Why else would Isabel not be talking to her father? Cody doesn't know what it could be, so let's help him out. I think he wants some assistance. Maybe also it's the fact that Cody treats Christine, Isabel's mom, like shit. Maybe also that she was not allowed to visit her father and siblings at Robin's house when the nanny was allowed in, as she was recovering from surgery. Maybe it's also that Cody has different standards for different kids in the family. Maybe also it's that he treats the kids differently and neglectfully. If he has a rocky relationship with their mother, he extends that to the kids. Maybe because Isabel knows all of the wives and kids don't get treated the same by her dad and invested in the same way. Maybe Isabel doesn't like that her dad is unfair with his time and manipulative and controlling. Maybe she doesn't like having to fake it and walk on eggshells every time she interacts with him because she can't have an honest adult conversation with him. Maybe she doesn't appreciate that her dad can't make the effort to be there for the most important times in her life. He can't help her move to North Carolina. That road trip during the Rona is too much because gas stations may not be open. But he can officiate the wedding and drive to get there, no problem during the pandemic. Maybe it's because Isabel knows her dad isn't invested in her. He isn't there when it counts. She isn't his priority. He refuses to sacrifice to put her first. Also, put Isabel in an impossible and unfair situation as a child, asking her to pick between school in person or seeing him. And when she chose school, he complained that it would be too inconvenient to see her out in the cold when he has been in the cold multiple times with no issue. He has been snowmobiling and skiing and sledding and ice blocking more than once in the cold. But for Isabel, he can't sit in the cold. She knows she isn't his priority. No one is. Cody is Cody's priority, but Cody expects everyone in the family to make him their priority. Maybe all that and more is why Isabel won't talk to her dad. It's not because Christine is influencing her kids against Cody and telling them how they should feel about their dad. It's because Isabel can see and think for herself. She can feel for herself. She is an adult. She is smart. She feels all of this. She lives it. She sees it. She knows. And she comes to her own conclusions based on Cody's behaviors. It's not at all based on her mom manipulating her. Her mom, Christine, doesn't manipulate. She does the opposite. She does what she can to make sure her kids aren't damaged by Cody's behavior and to make sure her kids have great relationships with Cody. And it's up to Cody to do the work and make the effort to have and maintain those relationships with his kids. Cody doesn't want to own up to the fact that his behavior with Isabel and his family have led him to this place with Isabel in their relationship where she doesn't want to talk to him. He wants to waste time deflecting and blaming Christine for poisoning the well rather than taking accountability himself and owning that his bad behavior as a father and as a husband has led him to this place with Isabel. Isabel doesn't see Cody as the big, ugly ogre because of Christine and her influence. He is the big, ugly ogre because of his behavior and his bad choices as a husband and a father. It has nothing to do with Christine influencing the kids. Cody just doesn't want to own his mistakes and acknowledge that it's on him. It's more comforting to his ego and fragile sensibilities to blame Christine than to acknowledge the truth that this is on him, and his mistakes and bad behavior and bad choices are squarely on him alone, and his choices and bad behavior with Isabel is why she doesn't talk to him. When they flash back to the scene of Isabel and her dad talking about him not attending her surgery, and he asks if she will become a bitter old housewife because of it, and she says no, I found that to be very manipulative of Cody to ask his child this. He basically is holding her to predicting how she will feel about his absence from her surgery before she has even experienced it to know how she will feel. And if Isabel ever feels resentment for it towards her father, and she brings this up to her dad to process through it ever in the future, he will remind her. He asked her if she would become a bitter old housewife because he didn't do this for her as her father. And Isabel told him no. She assured him she wasn't going to get bitter about this. And he will accuse Isabel of not sticking to her word. And he'll say, now you're mentioning it. You're bringing it up. You told me it wouldn't be like this. Why are you doing this to me? Cody knows this will be damaging to his daughter. If he didn't know his absence would be damaging to his daughter, he wouldn't have asked that question and brought this up in the first place. He knows how damaging it is for him not to be there, and he decided not to be there. Cody knows that his absence will make things harder for his daughter emotionally, knowing that she did not matter enough to her dad for him to be there supporting her during her surgery. It's a major life event. All fathers would attend as a given a major surgery for their child. He says he wants to be the head of the family, the patriarch, but Cody doesn't act like it. He doesn't act like he's capable of making decisions to indicate that he would be capable to lead. A true leader knows how to prioritize, and a true leader would be there for his daughter. As the protector of the children in the family, they would be there for the daughter in most imminent danger at the time of her surgery, especially when this patriarch claims he is the protector of the children. It seems to me Cody is more protective of some children than others. He doesn't do equal opportunity protection for all his kids in the family. It's not in the Brown family mission statement, apparently. Cody wants to make the accountability for the emotional and other consequences of his absence during the surgery for Isabel be something he is not responsible for. He isn't responsible for the hurt his absence causes, even though he knows he should be there, and he asked if it would make her a bitter old housewife. When she said she was fine with it, that was Cody off the hook. So now that he's off the hook, how Isabel feels about this in the future or now isn't Cody's concern. It's not on him. He asked if it would affect her later in his own way. She said no, it's a done deal. So now Cody isn't responsible for any negative emotional consequences of his actions, of his absence at that surgery. That's what that scene felt like to me. Cody trying to get off the hook. Cody knows this will affect her or he wouldn't ask about it, and he doesn't care. He doesn't care so much that he does it again, missing a major bonding opportunity and milestone in Isabel's life when he refused to help Isabel move to North Carolina. But Cody has no problem making it to a wedding where he gets to officiate and be the star. He doesn't care if he hurts others or if he damages his relationships by doing what he selfishly wants over what he knows is right, in making an effort to be as fair, present, and invested with his kids as he can be. He ignores what he knows he should do because he just doesn't want to do it, and he's selfish, and he doesn't care deeply about how other people feel. He doesn't care about how his wives feel or his kids feel about him leveraging his presence as a father and a husband as a reward for good behavior, for allowing his control in their lives. He doesn't care about the damage he causes. His concern is getting everyone to comply with whatever he wants so he can live as he wants, easily without inconvenience, free from his obstacles, free from responsibility and obligation. Cody wants a cushion for his ego everywhere he goes. He wants to be the hero. He wants everyone to bend the knee. He wants to be the hero everyone bends to, like he is the sun. If a relationship is hard, if it isn't just easy, he can't make the effort, and he can't understand why this other person is being difficult and can't appreciate him and keep sweet because he took the time to show up for a few hours. That's all he is willing to do unless he gets more respect. And by respect, he means obedience and submission. He doesn't care about feelings. He doesn't care about the negative effects of all of this on his kids and wives. He doesn't care. Cody will do what he wants to do, even if he is aware of the damage it does. Cody's ego is more important. His pride, his resentment at another wife, he totally seems to allow that resentment with a wife and the state of his marriage with a wife to affect and alter the way he treats his kids with that wife, and it's unfair to the kids. Cody says Isabel is probably hurt that he didn't go to her surgery, but he had a lot of people depending on him more than just Isabel. By more people than just Isabel, Cody is basically referring to Saul and Ari and Robin and his household with Robin, because at this time, we know Christine's place was off the table, as was Mary's, and Janelle's was off limits too because of Gabe and Garrison, the super spreaders. So Cody is saying he also had Robin and their kids dependent on him, and they mattered more than Isabel needing him at the scariest moment in her life when she was definitely the child closest to potential risk during major surgery, and Cody is the protector of the family and the protector of the children. That's what he keeps saying his COVID bullshit was about, protecting the children, but he can't make it to Isabel's surgery as the protector, and protecting Saul and Ari was more important than Isabel, supposedly. He's the protector of all of the children in his family, but not those other children. And Cody, the alpha male that he is so scared of the virus. He's scared for Saul and he's scared for Ari. He's too delicate for sitting in the cold to see Isabel. He can't make it to her move because of COVID. It just didn't work out. But he could work out making it to a wedding though, and he didn't seem to wonder if the gas stations would be open then, did he? He says he would have done it if it weren't for the COVID thing. Would medical doctors have been shocked that Cody, as Isabel's father, wasn't there if COVID was an issue for this that made it too dangerous? Would they even have scheduled this major surgery? This is all bullshit. Cody should have been there. He could have been there if he wanted to. He felt like Robin, Saul, and Ari were more important than Isabel, and he wanted to punish Christine, and he wanted to punish Isabel, so he didn't show up there. And that was a dick move, and it shows just how scummy his character is. Cody says, but once again, Christine sees this as an excuse. She sits there and talks to the kids. She has their ear. He does not have their ear. And Isabel says in confessional that she would describe her relationship with her dad as fine. It's fine. She says that in a resigned way, and she says she's going to miss her mom more than she is going to miss her dad because they aren't close at all, but he's still her dad. Isabel thinks that she has been able to adjust to the idea of divorce more, and she thinks both her parents deserve to be happy, and she doesn't think anybody can be happy in a loveless marriage. Notice how Cody says he doesn't have his kid's ear. He doesn't take issue with the harm that it would do to his kids if his wife manipulated them or if he manipulated them, which obviously Christine does not manipulate her kids. But Cody's issue with this isn't the damage to the kids through the manipulation. It's that he doesn't get his kids' ear too to manipulate them as well. So it's not fair because he doesn't get the equal opportunity to manipulate too. None of the issue Cody has with this lie that Christine supposedly manipulates the kids against him is about the damage that it would do to the kids or the relationships with him. It's about him not having their ear too, so it isn't fair because he doesn't get an equal opportunity to manipulate. Instead of Cody taking responsibility for how his choice to not attend the surgery hurt his daughter, instead of him acknowledging it and owning it and feeling the hurt he caused her, the additional emotional anguish resulting from his absence added to the pain from surgery, instead of Cody feeling how he made it harder on Isabel for his absence, he mentions in passing that Isabel is hurt by it, probably, and he would have gone if it wasn't for COVID. And Christine, once again, uses this, that he didn't go to the surgery, as an excuse to badmouth him when she has her kids' ears. And Cody doesn't have the same opportunity to counteract that with his own manipulations and influence against her. Cody thinks his kids are so feeble-minded and dumb that their mom sits there and spoon feeds them her feelings and her perception of the narrative to intentionally twist the children's minds against their dad. If Cody thinks that, he obviously doesn't know Christine at all. Christine would never damage her kids like that. She would never be manipulative like that. She would want to shield her kids as much as she can and protect them from the truth of the situation. Cody plays everything like a game. Everything is a move to calculate, a manipulation to try and control the outcome of something to his liking. And Cody assumes because he plays a game with emotions and relationships and dynamics that everyone else in the family is doing the same, behaving as he would behave, thinking from the same fucked up warped perceptions he does. To Christine, this isn't a game. This is her family. This is most of her life that she sacrificed for this family. These are her children. It's not a game. It's not a manipulation. And you can tell Christine would love for Cody to have great relationships with his kids. She doesn't want Cody's kids with her to be damaged by his behavior. And Cody's kids aren't weak-minded and easily influenced. They're very intelligent. And I am sure how Cody treats Christine does not help things. But his kids are intelligent. They see and they hear and they observe and they feel everything. They can see things aren't fair and equal. They can pick up on the double standards and the favoritism. They can pick up on Cody being less invested when he is with them and more invested other places. They can tell Cody takes out the state of a relationship with their mom on them. And the level of investment they get from their dad is affected by the state of the relationship with their mom. It sucks and it probably hurts a lot and it's not fair. The kids can see and feel and they're smart enough to come to their own conclusions. And Cody doesn't seem to want to face the fact that he is neglectful and absent and emotionally manipulative. And rather than take accountability and own his bad behavior and mistakes as a father, he would prefer deflect and blame Christine with a bullshit narrative that she's whispering in their ears and telling them how to feel and telling them to hate and telling them to resent their dad, when that's not the case at all. And Christine encourages good relationships between her kids and Cody. It's obvious that Christine has bent backwards more than once or twice to accommodate Cody and facilitate him spending time with his kids so that it's more convenient for him, so that he will be there, so that they won't get hurt. She would never speak badly about Cody intentionally to poison the well. She would never want that damage to her kids. She loves her kids fiercely and unconditionally. She would never want to damage her kids like that. And she doesn't see this as a game, and she doesn't play it like a game. She doesn't see this as something to manipulate. It's very insulting to the kids, and it's insulting to Christine for Cody to even suggest that that was the situation, and he should be ashamed of that. Christine turning the kids against him, influencing them, that is such bullshit. It's the furthest thing from the truth, and it's embarrassing that rather than Cody as a 50-plus-year-old man understanding that his kids are smart and can think for themselves and come to their own conclusions based on his treatment of them and based on how they feel about their dad from that treatment, Cody would rather assume that Christine must be brainwashing them rather than taking accountability because his ego can't cope with him being the one who ruined the bonds with his kids with his shit behavior. Cody comes up with the narrative that it must be Christine brainwashing the kids against him because his ego can't cope with him being the one who single-handedly ruined the bonds with his kids with his shit behavior. Just because Cody is manipulative and he plays games and he thinks everything is a power play to leverage or get influence, it doesn't mean the rest of the world does these same behaviors. But because Cody thinks this way and he acts this way, he assumes everyone else around him behaves this way too, and that everyone is against him, plotting and calculating and conniving. Cody isn't that important. He's not that big of a deal for the wives to get the kids together, to influence them and conspire to pull out the pitchforks and the torches. Most of the kids are grown adults or nearly adults, and they can think for themselves and they can see for themselves and they can feel for themselves. No one is conspiring against him. No one is poisoning the well. Cody does that all by himself with his behavior. And it just seems like Cody is getting super paranoid because somewhere in there he knows the way he behaves is wrong. He feels it and he fears others, expecting the worst from them because he knows he isn't acting right and he is giving them the worst of him, so he expects the worst back. If Cody behaved well with everyone, if Cody was fair and kind and decent to the best of his ability, if he compromised and if he was with it and he was confident in his behavior, being good and right and decent, and he knew he was doing his best and he was doing the right thing, would Cody be so fucking paranoid all of the time? When Cody was talking to Christine, he kept looking behind him like he was scared of his own shadow during their divorce conversation. Why is Cody paranoid, worried about Christine plotting, whispering, poisoning the well? Why is he worried about the phantom white knight who will whisk Christine away, stealing all of his coins in the process? Why is he worried about COVID and the cold, but not about Isabel's major surgery? Why does he have so much fucking paranoia and towards the wrong things? Could it be because he knows he is purely being selfish, doing what he wants, and that he doesn't give a fuck, and he knows it's wrong, and he knows it's unfair, but he just wants to satisfy himself doing what he wants alone? And he feels that paranoia because he knows he hasn't been good, and he hasn't been fair, and he hasn't done right, and he has no intention to do right, and he knows it's wrong. So he gets paranoid and he imagines the worst from others around him because he knows he treats everyone around him in the worst ways. He treats everyone that way and he expects to get what he gives, and he knows he gives the worst, so he expects the worst. And his family always gives Cody better. They give him more. They give him more than he gives them. They give him more than he deserves based on his behavior. They give Cody more than he can give them. And still, each time Cody slaps them down, refusing them, refusing to compromise, refusing to hear, refusing to care, refusing to make an effort. Isabel says her relationship with her dad is fine, and in confessional, you can tell she is really trying to be diplomatic, and she says it in a resigned way. Then she says she's going to miss her mom more than her dad, and she has had time to adjust to the idea of her parents' divorce, and she thinks her parents deserve to be happy, and no one can be happy in a loveless marriage. For a marriage to work, it has to be based on a deep love and affection and care. There has to be lots of compromise and lots of communication and lots of willingness to make an effort by everyone involved. It's not just easy all the time. It's not always convenient. Most of the time it's hard. Most of the time it's not convenient. It's work to have a relationship. And it doesn't even have to be just a romantic relationship. All relationships take a ton of work at different points. If there isn't love there as a brace for the relationship to hold it up in the hardest of times, there isn't a marriage there. There isn't happiness and fulfillment. So I think the world knows that Christine did the right thing for herself and for her kids in leaving Cody, and she deserves happiness, and her kids see that too, and they want her to be happy. And if we just see the snippets we get from the show and we feel away as viewers, imagine how the kids feel having witnessed years and years of that relationship, seeing the suffering and seeing the difficulty and seeing their dad's behavior. It probably is way worse than our impressions. So the kids probably see more of the dynamics than we do, and they seem to want their parents happy, especially Christine, of course. Christine always puts her kids first, so it's really heartwarming and nice to see her kids genuinely care for her happiness, and seeing them support her back is really touching. Isabel is packing to move away, and Gwen is helping her, and she says she is going to miss Isabel, and she's not excited for Isabel to leave. Gwendolyn and Isabel have gotten really close since they moved from Vegas, and now their rooms are directly next to each other again, and Gwen doesn't want Isabel to leave. Isabel thinks the relationships with her other parents will always be the relationship it always has been, and she hopes it won't change, and she will always see Robin, Janelle, and Mary as her moms, and their kids will always be her siblings, and Isabel doesn't think it will ever change. Christine, Isabel, Gwendolyn, and Truly are now headed to see Janelle's trailer. Christine is showing sister-wife support today. Christine and her girls think Janelle is insane to move out onto the property. Isabel thinks it's exciting. She's probably saying it to be nice. Gwen makes a face, and Truly shrieks like no way when Christine asks them what they think of Janelle's plan. Christine says their biggest concern is Savannah, and if Savannah is really okay with this adventure. Gwendolyn suggests that they all get trailer homes and park them at Coyote Pass. Isabel would never, but she thinks it's awesome that Janelle is doing this because it just sounds like Janelle. More than once, Janelle has definitely mentioned her dream of living in an RV over the seasons. So this is her dream, and more power to her. If she's happy living in an RV and she loves that type of experience, I say go her. I think it rocks. Christine is excited for Janelle. Cody says Mary, Robin, and Christine would not live in an RV. None of them want to live in an RV. Janelle says this is not the first best choice. She is doing this, living in an RV, for a reason. She doesn't know if it will save them a lot of money except on a rental. But what it does for her psychologically is it engages her with the land instead of them having the piece of land out of town and herself having her life in town. Mary comes to see the RV. She saw it a few days ago when they were at the Airbnb, but Janelle couldn't pull out all of the pop-outs, so this time everything is popped out so Mary can see what the full space looks like. Mary asks if Janelle has moved her stuff in. Not yet. She has 10 days. They were struggling, but they have the 10 days still. Janelle says she's stressed. At 2 a.m., the Tylenol PM wears off. She's super stressed out. And Mary jokes, take another one, take another one. Janelle says she has about a week before she has to be out of the rental. And the move has been proving to be much more challenging and time-consuming than she thought it would be. Janelle is not 100% sure that everybody wants to move out onto this property. Christine doesn't want to move onto the property. She already said that. She really would be shocked, though, Janelle, if Robin, Cody, and Mary ever end up building out here. And she says it's fine. She'll have a great view. She will just build her house. She'll have a great view if there are no other houses out there. Mary and Janelle are standing right there, and Cody is so fucking awkward. He walks by Mary and he ignores her completely. Janelle says, "Hi, honey." So Cody says hi. And then Mary says hi to Cody, and Cody says hi to her in passing, and it is so awkward. He just totally disregarded Mary as he walked by her until she said hi. And then Cody looked between Janelle and Mary and he giggled so awkwardly. It was so awkward. Whenever his wives are together, Cody gets very awkward. Notice how Janelle candidly says she is building no matter what. She will just get a better view if Mary, Robin, and Cody don't build. And she doesn't think everybody wants to move out there. And in fact, she would be shocked if Mary, Robin, and Cody build out there. See, she knows that Cody isn't building on Coyote Pass and that he has no intention. And she probably knows Robin doesn't want to part with her mansion. Next, in confessional, Robin makes excuses for Cody. She says the dream for her is absolutely to build on Coyote Pass. And she thinks they're going to pull it off. She just thinks they didn't expect some of the real estate issues they have had. Once they're able to pay off the property, she thinks they are going to build. Mary thinks she is losing the excitement about building. She's losing the excitement of it, and it hasn't felt like anybody else really wants it, especially Cody. So she doesn't know what will happen with Coyote Pass, to be honest. Janelle mentions to Cody that the solar batteries didn't charge. And Janelle is discouraged because she needs the battery to run a lot. The lights, the fridge, everything. So at this point, Janelle is hoping that they fix it soon, but she is boondocking. She doesn't have any hookups. There is no septic. There's no water. There's no power. Cody is just going to use this as another excuse added to the list of reasons why he can't be present in the trailer with Janelle and Savannah and why he cannot stay there. Goblin reveals in confessional that she isn't a big fan of trailers and she doesn't think anybody should have to live in them. That is so fucking rude and fucking classist as well. Lots of people grow up in trailers or they live in trailers and there is a stigma attached to it, but it's a roof and it's a home. If Robin didn't have Cody or a TLC paycheck coming her way and she had to survive a pandemic or a natural disaster as a single mom, she might be very grateful to have a trailer to live in. So I don't know what the fuck kind of comment that was from Robin, as if it's low class or less than to live in a trailer, as if it's indecent and not acceptable for humans, like it's beneath humanity, it's beneath them, it's beneath her, it's beneath Cody. And she doesn't think Janelle should be subjecting Cody to this squalor. She doesn't think anybody should have to live in a trailer. Robin needs to go get beeped. She really doesn't think about her words before she speaks. And she wanted to make it look like it's beneath dignity to live in a trailer. It's beneath respect that Janelle would make Cody Brown, the ramen-haired king of the prairie dog plaguelands, the Cody Brown, stay in her trailer, in that muck and in that mire. That is beneath Cody. That is beneath them. She really behaves like a bitch without thinking of her words sometimes. Does she not understand how many people are displaced after hurricanes and natural disasters and they feel so grateful when they get a trailer to stay in? So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about, but she really needs to think with her brain. Robin continues on that despite her concerns about Janelle and Cody living in a, trailer like this, she's going to put on her happy face and be happy for Janelle. What concerns does Robin have exactly? And what does living in a, trailer like this mean? Other than that Robin is very condescending and rude. She is also openly fake. She will put on a fake smile to see the trailer and feign support for Janelle, even though she feels a trailer is beneath her and beneath decency and beneath Cody. And she can't believe people could live in a trailer. She doesn't think anybody should have to live in a trailer or that Janelle would ask Cody to stay in such squalor. It's ludicrous. What a fucking bitch. Janelle is actually doing the family a favor if their intention was to actually pay off the land. And I think Robin doesn't want to move from her mansion, and Cody certainly doesn't want to build on the land. Want to have to pay the land off either. And these real estate issues that came up that Robin says they didn't expect, that basically means they don't have the money and they don't want to make the effort to do all the work to make it go so that they can build on the land, and it takes money and time and effort. And Cody keeps bringing up Christine's piece of the land as if that would pose some big barrier or complication when she supposedly sold her piece of land to Cody and Robin for just $10. Robin doesn't want to move, and also they don't have the money even if they wanted to. Cody seems desperate for money. Why else would he suggest something so preposterous as Christine giving her money from her home sale to pay off Coyote Pass so Janelle can build? Why in the world would she ever agree to that at all? Why would Cody even think it, let alone say it, unless he's desperate as fuck? Cody doesn't want Christine to be successful. I don't think he wants her to be stable, because in his warped mind, the less money she has and the less stable she is financially, that's more of a chance that she might come crawling back to him, and there's hope yet. And the less money Christine has, the less likely she would be to succeed. And I wonder if he will try to leverage Truly for that money, or if that was his angle because he's in desperate financial straits. One would hope not, but with a man so obsessed with coins and calculations and manipulations, anything is possible. He went so far as to leverage sex and intimacy with Christine for Christine modifying her behavior with Robin. And he thought that he could remove sex and intimacy and then suggest that she changes her behavior with Robin and that maybe they'll think about intimacy. So this isn't that far a leap. I think Robin is pissed at Janelle, and I think she's resentful because Janelle is putting pressure on Cody to shit or get off the pot with the land. And it causes Cody to be a moody dick, and it makes problems for her. And Robin doesn't want to move. She doesn't like that Janelle is trying to push him to move forward and make progress with the land. She probably doesn't want to move to Coyote Pass, and she also knows Cody has no intention of progressing with the land, and it annoys her that Janelle is being so independent and so willful, so she wants to belittle Janelle's choices because she's irritated by them and what it means for Cody and what it means for her and what it means for Cody's moods in her home. But Robin really stuck her foot in it by saying she doesn't think anybody should have to live in trailers, that it's undignified, it's base. How could people live in a trailer when there are people who would love to have a nice trailer for their family, who would love to have any type of roof over their head, who may not have a home, who would feel so blessed by it? Christine is very supportive of Janelle when she gets there. She is very enthusiastic about Janelle's trailer. Janelle says regarding Christine, no matter what she thinks, she will always try to make you feel better about what is going on. Christine points out that Janelle has storage jokingly. She's making light, having fun. Mary suggests that that storage would be good for shoes or soup. And Christine suggests maybe for food containers or pots and pans. Cody says the silly part of this is that Janelle is trying to sell everybody on how cool this is because she thinks it's cool. But he says Christine and Mary don't think it's cool at all. They think it's stupid, so they're teasing Janelle, saying, "Oh, this is awesome, but I would never ever live in this, but it's awesome for you." Before they take the tour, Isabel and Christine and Truly and Gwendolyn ask Savannah how she feels about the trailer and if she likes it. And Savannah thinks it's pretty great. And Christine asks Savannah if she is excited to do this, and she says yeah with a smile. I sense hesitation, but who knows? Christine asks if she is really excited for this, and Savannah says yeah. She didn't want to do it until Janelle told her there were 2 bathrooms, so Savannah gets her own bathroom. Christine is so nurturing and supportive of all the kids in the family, and it's something to be admired. Christine says she is impressed with Savannah's attitude And she always tells her kids, you don't always have a choice on what you do, but you have a choice in your attitude. Christine says the fridge is a decent sized fridge and she has a lot more space than she thought that Janelle would have. And she thinks Janelle can make this work. It's better than what Christine thought it would be. Christine was concerned about Savannah getting enough space, but she has her own space in the trailer with a door. Cody doesn't actually believe that he will ever use the trailer bathroom. He says it's just too small and he will shower somewhere else. By somewhere else, of course, he means Robin's house. Cody says the bed is big enough, but for him to bring a suitcase to the trailer, where would he put it? Cody says the contrast he will be living in between Janelle's house and Robin's house is going to be so significant. He says he gets his exercise going up and down the stairs and walking down the hallway at Robin's house, and he will come into the trailer and sit down, and he won't be able to move his elbows. He complains about that. See, Cody is setting the narrative that the trailer is just too small and it's too cramped, it's too uncomfortable. He won't be comfortable there. It's way too tiny. He won't stay there. Don't expect it. Robin sets the narrative that it's beneath Cody to stay in a trailer. They want to make it clear that the trailer is not a suitable living space for the king, and that will be the reason he won't be there. Robin and her kids take the tour, and like mother, like daughter. Robin said she didn't think anyone should have to live in a trailer earlier, and Aurora asked if the bunk beds in Savannah's room were dog beds. Brianna complains that the bath is a tiny bath. She says it's more like a foot wash. All very condescending and all very rude and judgmental remarks. Like mother, like daughters. Aurora asks, are those going to be for the doggies, pointing to the bunk beds in Savannah's room? And Robin advises her daughter that this is Savannah's bedroom. These are Savannah's beds. Cody says the dogs will live outside of here, meaning outside of the trailer. And Janelle says no, they will not. Janelle has 2 dogs. Cody says in his mind, he still feels like his bedroom is the sacred place for he and his wife to associate with each other in any variety of ways. And the dogs shouldn't be there. Cody warns Janelle that she is going to have to pick between him and the dogs. In confessional, Janelle says, yeah, dude, I'm sorry. You're here 1 day and 4 maybe 3. And she will choose the dogs, and she is going to choose the dogs, the kids, and the dogs. Cody is going to use the dogs as another excuse as to why he can't be there now. The trailer is too small, and it's the dogs or Cody, and Cody is making it clear that Janelle has to choose. So Janelle chose. She chooses her dogs. She chooses her kids. Robin looks pissed. She is pissed at Janelle, you can tell, because in her view, Janelle treats Cody as less than. She's too independent. She marginalizes him. She victimizes him. Robin probably buys the narrative that Janelle takes away Cody's voice. She treats Cody as less than. She decides for him. She picks the dogs over her husband. Janelle doesn't consult Cody. Janelle's too independent. She dominates Cody. She refuses to allow Cody to be the man and the husband and the patriarch. And Robin can't even believe Janelle would accept to live in such squalor, in a trailer, let alone asking her dear Cody to live in a trailer too with her. Look at how rude and disrespectful Robin's girls were, calling the bathtub a foot wash, asking if the bunk beds in Savannah's room are for the doggies. Where did they get this condescending, rude, disgusting attitude if not from hearing their mom and Cody speak at home? Robin asks if she can run and hide because she doesn't want to be here for this conversation about the dogs. Mary guesses Janelle living in this trailer wouldn't be too far off from the mobile home they all lived in together. Mary says when you are living in a 3-bedroom mobile home with 3 wives, you have to have a lot of patience and you have to be very aware of your surroundings. Christine is nervous for Janelle. She hopes it works for her, She doesn't want to be a downer, but Christine doesn't think Cody is going to like it there at all. She says Cody loves his routines, he loves his comforts, he loves a bigger house, and this is just another excuse to stay at Robin's house now that Janelle has the trailer. Christine is honest. She knows that Cody is going to make excuses not to be there so he can stay at Robin's where he wants to be. She knows he will say it's too cramped, it doesn't suit him. He will make excuses to justify his absence. She seems to know that Cody has no intention to build on the land as well, and that this won't work out for Janelle how she hopes it will. In confessional, Cody says Robin makes it convenient for him to be there. She enforces or reinforces his relationships with his kids. Notice how Cody praises Robin for making it convenient. Convenience is key. If you expect Kotex to participate at all as a husband and a father, even just the bare minimum, you must make it convenient for him. You must make it appealing and enticing for him. You have to stroke his ego. You have to be easy, so he will reward you with crumbs. If Robin were to one day become inconvenient, she would fall from Cody's favor. Cody isn't really attached emotionally to his wives, in my opinion. He shows favor and attention when people accommodate and suit him. If not, he is not participating as a husband and a father, as if it's an optional part-time job to leave or take when you feel it suits you and you need the extra hours. Cody says Robin enforces the relationships with his kids. She reinforces his relationships with his kids. She basically probably makes it clear we are all to respect and adore and obey Dad. No matter what, we will adore him regardless, and we will be easy. And if not, there will be issues. She probably tells her kids how they need to act to live there and how they need to act to make it so Cody wants to be there. Everything is tailored to Cody and pleasing Cody, so he is willing to be there. He isn't there out of love. It's all an obligation he resents. So he will only do it if it's as easy as possible on him and he feels adored because he doesn't want to be there anyways. He is glad to have reasons to not be there. So if Robin doesn't make it convenient, he might even find reasons with her why he doesn't want to be there. Robin knows that Janelle and Cody have had a lot of tension through the last year or year and a half because of COVID. And she wonders, is this going to be something to bring Cody and Janelle together because they are working together on the RV? Or will it be something where Cody is frustrated that this got chosen? So Robin just keeps praying for them that they will get some of this stuff figured out. I love how Robin reduces Janelle and Cody's marital issues to their disagreements regarding how to handle the pandemic. That minimizes the issues, and it's not just about COVID at all by any means. Robin is pissed, and she encourages Cody, in my opinion, to feel like a victim, marginalized by Janelle and marginalized by his other less obedient wives who refuse to submit, who are inconvenient. She encourages Cody, in my opinion, to resent the wives who refuse to submit in the way that she does. And she probably whispers in Cody's ear, and she probably stirs discord, saying it's unfair how Janelle is forcing him to stay in the trailer without consulting him first. The more strife there is between Cody and the wives and the kids, the more he will stay at Robin's house where it's convenient for him. She probably helped enable Cody to feel like the marginalized victim of his defiant kids and his independent wives. Cody says in Plural Marriage, if you are not around a lot for a wife, she starts to take it personally. She starts to feel like a victim, like plural marriage is unfair. Cody says in this case, Janelle has a tiny little kitchen and a tiny little house and a tiny little bathroom. And if he is not around, she will start to feel marginalized, but she made choices that are a major inconvenience to him and his lifestyle because she wanted this RV. So now there is an inclination for him to go, Well, I've got hot water at Robin's house. He wonders, why am I going to sit here and suffer with you with your choices? The situation is and is what it is. He says Janelle made a choice and he will accommodate that choice as best as he can, and then he will make his own choices. Cody wants to try and oppose the narrative that his wives feel like victims of the lifestyle and of him. And he is saying, as the husband, when he is not around a lot and he is not around rotating equally and fairly, that Janelle will take it personally and she will feel like a victim of an unfair lifestyle. Cody is being unfair with his time, and the lifestyle is inherently toxic and unfair as well, of course. But Cody, as the husband to 4 women, now 3, with 18 kids, could have made polygamy function in an easier and healthier, more functional way if he did things fairly and equally as the husband. He wants to say that it's bullshit that his wives are victims. If they feel that way, it's not because of him being unfair. It's not because of him being absent as a husband. It's because of the unfair lifestyle. And Janelle wants to call herself a victim because Cody isn't coming around. Cody is predicting that Janelle will make herself look like a victim because he isn't being fair. But he's saying she made the choice to live in this tiny trailer. She made the choice. She did not consult him. He doesn't want to be in the tiny trailer, and he doesn't want to pay with his own personal suffering and inconvenience by staying in this trailer that his wife chose. It's his wife's choice, a choice she gave him no say in Cody's eyes. And he now has to live with this. And so he won't be going there and he won't be giving her equal time. And then he's predicting that she will call herself a marginalized victim. But she did this to herself in Cody's eyes by choosing the trailer and not consulting him. And he isn't going to be somewhere he did not agree to. That isn't to his liking. So if he's absent and she feels marginalized, so be it. It's her choice and it's because of her choice. And he chooses not to be there as a result of her choice. So if Janelle feels marginalized, if he is absent, it's her fault. It's not his fault. He did not make this choice. It's not his fault at all if he decides not to be there. It's not his fault that he refuses to be there even when he said he would be. He isn't there because of Janelle's choice to buy the trailer. It's not by his own choice not to be there. Cody wants to be at Robin's house anyways. He doesn't want to be at Janelle's. And it could be if she lived in a mansion or an apartment or a seaside villa or the trailer. It doesn't matter where she would be, Cody would find a problem. He doesn't want to be at Janelle's, and he can use the small trailer as an excuse. He can use the inconvenience to him as an excuse not to be there. Plus, another reason to be at Robin's house is the hot water. There's also the dogs. He wants to be clear that if his wives ever feel like victims in plural marriage, it isn't because he doesn't do things fair and equal as a husband. It's because of their choices that cause him not to be able to be there. He just can't be inconvenienced. If the wives feel like victims, oh, well, it's plural marriage, baby. It's their choices that keep him away. It's not on him. It's not his choice. It's not that he's not doing things fairly and equally. The choice for him to be there isn't even in his hands. Oh, well. Janelle asked Cody initially if he would stay in the trailer. He clearly said yes. Now he refuses. He came up with the dogs as an excuse. Now that Gabe and Garrison live in apartments and he can't use them as an excuse, he will blame the dogs, the tiny trailer, the hot water, the inconvenience. He won't hear his wife's complaints of feeling marginalized. It's on them. It's their choice that affected his choice to be able to be there or not. So it's on them. It's on their choices. It has nothing to do with him, and it has nothing to do with him refusing to be there or making the choice not to be there or refusing to give fair and equal time to each household. It's his wife's choices that affect his choices, and he isn't going to be there, and it's not his fault. Next, we learned that Christine had to tell Truly alone about her divorce from Cody and the impending move to Utah. Because when Christine wanted to tell Truly with Cody present, Cody still wanted to think about it. He wasn't ready yet to tell Truly. And Christine warned him that everyone knows in the family, but Truly more or less, and that she is a smart girl who will figure it out. Cody still wanted to wait, and Christine was on the phone with McKelty discussing how excited they were about the move to Utah, and Truly overheard. And so Christine had to break the news to Truly, who was completely shocked by the news. If Cody had just agreed to talk with Truly with Christine and they got it out of the way in the way Christine wanted to, none of this would have happened in this way, and it would have been much easier on Truly as well. Christine did nothing wrong, and I'm sure she feels terrible about this. But if Cody just agreed to be reasonable and rational, and he put Truly and her feelings before his own arrogance, maybe Truly never would have found out this way. Christine is visibly shaken and emotional, explaining what happened. She says that was the worst conversation of her life. Truly overheard Christine on the phone with McKelty. Christine told McKelty she was excited to move to Utah, and then she heard a gasp, and there was Truly. Christine says she and Cody were going to talk to Truly together, but they hadn't come to an agreement yet. She had no choice anymore now that the cat was out of the bag, so Christine had to tell the truth. So she sat Truly down and she told her they were moving to Utah, and Truly started to cry and she wanted to know when they were moving. And Christine told her in September. Truly was crying and she was upset and she wanted to go to her room to be alone to process. But Christine knew she had to tell Truly everything, and she knew that Truly hadn't clocked that she and Cody were divorcing. So she told Truly it was just she and her who were moving to Utah. And Truly asked Christine if her mom and her dad were getting a divorce, and Christine had to reveal the news, and Truly looked so heartbroken. Christine says that she could have said, yeah, they're gonna get divorced, but then every time Cody came over, Truly might be watching Cody and Christine and watching their interactions and worrying and wondering about it, and she might also hold on to false hope that it wasn't final or that one day her parents might reconcile, and Christine didn't want that, so she told Truly they were already divorced, and Truly started crying again. Christine says, in plural marriage, when you are not married legally, you usually have to go through some sort of a separation procedure kind of a thing. And Christine didn't know if she and Cody were actually divorced until this second. She just thought they were going to be divorced, and she didn't know when they would actually be divorced, because there is not ever going to be a piece of paper from the government saying you're divorced, because they were never married legally. So Christine quickly made up her mind, and she told Truly, no, they were already divorced, and she wanted Truly to see that it was already done and a done deal. And she asked Truly if she had noticed anything really that different between her dad and her mom. And she asked Truly if she has noticed that her parents were not getting along, or if she noticed that Cody is not really sleeping there anymore. And Truly thought about it for a minute, and she said no. Gwendolyn and Isabel are moving out in a couple of months, and it's not like they see everybody that often. They don't see Cody that often. They don't see anybody else in the family that often, and they have been alone here in Flagstaff. And they would be more alone, and Truly would be lonely here. But in Utah, they would be right in between Aspen and McKelty, and where they live, they will see them all of the time. And they will envelop Truly when she is around them. And it's what Christine wants to give Truly for the rest of her life. She wants Truly to be surrounded and enveloped in love, and Christine can get that for Truly in a couple of months. Cody says he wants a relationship with his children, especially those who are young and vulnerable. Cody says it's almost like this is just following a narrative that Christine sets up with, well, Dad's never here anyways. Says Christine is leading Truly down a road. And Cody says if his relationship is bad with his younger children, it's not always his fault. It's that he hasn't had a mother who has actually been willing to help that. And Christine here, needing excuses to be able to leave, has been setting things up, he feels like, for a very long time to justify this to her children. Again, Cody is trying to paint the narrative that Christine is intentionally manipulating Truly, who is young and vulnerable, poisoning the well against him. This is untrue. It's a whole lie. Cody is projecting what he does in constantly manipulating and attempting to adjust his narrative in his feeble attempt to look better that ends up only making him look even worse. It's not that it's the truth that dad is never there, that dad is never around for Cody. It's that Christine is lying and pushing that narrative to intentionally convince her kids of this when it's not really reality that Cody is never there. Christine just says that to manipulate her kids, according to Cody. She is pushing a negative narrative of Cody, so the kids, especially Truly, hate him because Christine is evil and manipulative, and his kids are weak-minded imbeciles who can't think for themselves. Wow, this is incredibly insulting to Christine and her kids. Cody's whole attitude and his perception of things, it's a huge insult. It's insulting to viewers as well. Christine isn't a manipulator. She does all she can to shield her kids from the reality of who their dad is and his character and how he behaves. She does all she can to facilitate relationships between Cody and his kids. But ultimately, it's up to Cody to be there and to show up and to foster and nurture these relationships with his kids. His kids are highly intelligent. They aren't weak-minded and easily influenced. They can't be whispered to and influenced so easily. Cody severely underestimates the intelligence levels of his kids and his wives, and he projects what he does onto them. Just because he manipulates and spins and deceives through his warped perceptions, he expects everyone around him to operate in that way, in the way that he does, to move as he does, to think and behave as he does, when really all Christine does is try to accommodate Cody so he will spend time with her kids. She really hopes her kids will have great relationships with their dad. Cody always projects his behavior patterns onto other people, assuming the worst in his paranoia. He never wants to take accountability and look inward to understand that his behavior and his choices alone are what led him to a bad place with his kids. And his kids probably also don't appreciate the way he treats their mom. But Cody's behavior alone is what leaves him in a bad place with his kids, not Christine's influence leading them down a path. That is such bullshit. Cody says if his relationship is bad with his younger children, it's not always his fault. It's that he hasn't had a mother who has actually been willing to help that. And Christine here, needing excuses to be able to leave, has been setting things up, he feels like, for a very long time to justify this to her children. See, Cody admits he has poor relationships with some of his kids, but he deflects. It's not his fault, it's the mother's fault, who influences the kids against their dad intentionally. It couldn't possibly be that the kids think for themselves and they see the truth and they see the reality of who their father is, and maybe that prevents them from wanting deep relationships with him. Maybe Cody's actions as a father make his kids feel like they aren't his priority, like they don't matter to him as much as others. Maybe some of the kids feel that they aren't unconditionally loved by their father. And maybe it's Cody and his choices and his behaviors and the consequences and the damage of those behaviors that his kids feel that ruin the relationships with him. Maybe it's Cody himself and it has nothing to do with his wives or with the moms influencing their feeble-minded children's minds. Maybe it also doesn't help the way Cody treats the moms and the way Cody favors other kids in the family over them. That's an insult to everyone. It's an insult to the kids. It's an insult to the wives. It's an insult to the viewers, really. And it's pathetic that a grown-ass 50-plus-year-old older man would prefer to deflect and lie and badmouth his family in his delusional paranoia just to avoid feeling the responsibility and accountability for his bad behavior. He would rather waste time on lies and deflection and accusing others of what he does, and for him to take ownership and understand that the fault for his bad relationships with his kids is on him and his treatment of his kids and nothing else. Cody says it's not him, it's the mother who won't help the bad relationships. It's not the mother's responsibility to maintain and develop those bonds and relationships between the kids and their father. If the kids resent their dad, that's on Cody to fix. It's on Cody to actively pursue and maintain these relationships. It's not the responsibility of the moms. And by the way, if the mom he is referring to is Christine, she bends over backwards to try and facilitate good relationships between her kids and their father. She does all she can to make it more convenient for Cody, even though she doesn't have to. She still does it just to accommodate Cody so Cody will see his kids, and she does it for her kids because she doesn't want to traumatize them. She doesn't want them to feel pain. She doesn't want them to feel damage. She doesn't want them to be manipulated. She doesn't want to triangulate them into her shit with Cody, even though Cody does that. And Cody knows that, and Cody knows what type of a person Christine is, and he should be ashamed that he cares more about a feeble attempt at better optics than about respecting the mother of his kids and respecting his kids and their intelligence. It's not the mother's responsibility to interfere in their adult and almost adult kids' relationships with their dad. It's Cody's responsibility as the father alone to nurture and maintain his relationships with his kids. And it's his job to fix things when he fucks up and he continually steps in it. And it's his job to communicate, and it's his job to be there even when it's hard and inconvenient, and even when he has to make an effort, and even when things are rocky. He is the father. It's on him. Christine can't clean up all of his messes. It's not the job of the moms to do the cleanup every time Cody makes a mess on aisle 2. Cody says if his relationship with his younger kids is bad, it's not his fault. It's because of Christine needing excuses to be able to leave, setting things up, justifying her divorce to her kids. Wants to try his hardest to paint Christine as a bitter, hateful, scorned woman who wants out, and she wants to sell it to her kids by intentionally lying and painting the narrative that Cody is the bad guy. And of course, Cody is saying, oh, I'm not the bad guy. It's not true. And Christine is just an evil liar. So she is intentionally finding lies and excuses to justify her divorce to her kids. Christine isn't lying, and she certainly isn't bad-mouthing Cody, and she certainly doesn't even need to come up with excuses to justify her leaving. Christine is being honest about her feelings and the state of their relationship, and she doesn't need to justify the divorce to her kids by lying about Cody or making shit up. Cody makes his bed himself with his words and actions and the way he behaves and the way he treats everyone. He says it all through his actions and lack thereof, and through his priorities as well. The kids see his behavior and it speaks for itself, and Cody's character speaks for itself. Cody makes it easy. Cody makes it clear that he doesn't prioritize his kids. Cody makes it clear that he doesn't prioritize his wives. He never prioritized Christine. Christine doesn't need to lie. She wouldn't even need to spin a narrative to justify her divorce. It's all there obvious for the world to see. Cody makes it so easy to see that she doesn't even need to say a word. He does it all himself. Cody underestimates his kids' intelligence and he insults Christine. And it just shows his character and how resentful and miserable he is. He wants to deflect and blame everyone around him but himself for the bad relationships with his kids. It's Christine whispering. It's his kids' disrespect. It's not him. It could never be that his behavior was so egregious that the kids on their own decided they want their mom to be happy and fulfilled, and they want her to have love, and they want her to have a voice, and they want her voice to be heard. And they don't need to be spoon-fed to see it. It doesn't take any manipulation. It doesn't take any influencing. Cody's behavior speaks for itself. And to avoid addressing that, Cody wants to villainize Christine and deflect onto her when it's just ludicrous, hogwash and bullshit. What Cody fails to realize is that villainizing Christine and blaming her for the poor relationships with his kids will only make his kids resent him even more. Not only because he is lying on their mom, but because he isn't being honest and he isn't taking accountability for his behavior. Instead, he's just blaming other people. So it probably makes his kids lose more respect for their dad when he speaks so delusionally. Christine says Truly asked if she could go be alone after their divorce conversation, and Christine said yes, and Truly went to her room and she cried. And Christine says she has just said the hardest thing to her little girl, and she doesn't know what else to say, and she doesn't know what is going to make it better. She just knows that she will remember this moment for the rest of her life as the day she broke Truly's heart. Christine says it was awful. She says as much as she knows it's the right thing to do, today is just really hard. And now she has to tell Cody too that Truly knows. Christine says she felt like a pretty cruddy mom today, and she knows she's making the right decision. It's not that she isn't making the right decision, but it doesn't make it any easier. It's not Christine's fault. Christine did everything right. If Cody had just agreed to tell Truly with Christine and they did it jointly and they got it done, none of this would be happening. But Christine approached Cody about talking to Truly. Cody wanted to put it off, just like he wants to put off moving the boxes and moving the food storage and doing this and doing that, because he wants to drag this out and make it take longer than usual in case Christine might change her mind, in case he can negotiate better things with Christine. Truly having to experience this divorce conversation in this way is not on Christine. It's on Cody. Christine warned him that she's a smart girl. She's going to find out. Everyone knows. We need to tell her sooner rather than later. And just to be a dick, Cody said, "Oh, I have to think about it. Oh, I don't know. It's a dramatic conversation for a 10-year-old. And then Christine had to correct him and say, "No, dude, she's 11. Our kid is 11. If Cody was just reasonable and rational and he agreed to talk to Truly, none of this would have been happening. It wouldn't have been so traumatic on Truly. It wouldn't have been so stressful and emotionally painful for Christine. He always makes things worse. Christine did everything the best she could. She handled it right. She didn't do anything wrong. I'm sure she feels really bad about it, and she shouldn't. Cody should have been a mature-ass 50-plus-year-old man and had this conversation with Christine and his daughter when it was time. And it was time to do it then when Christine mentioned it and he refused. Next time on Sister Wives, Cody is driving and he is in Texas right now. He is driving to his buddy's wedding he will be officiating. Janelle says Cody and Robin still observe the very strict rules about COVID, and yet here Cody is traveling. Cody asks, "Did I say I'm going to be performing their wedding?" as he is driving to get to the wedding. So he can drive to be in the limelight to officiate a friend's wedding, but he can't drive across the country to move his daughter to college because of the pandemic. Cody has some really fucked up priorities. It really highlights how Cody is his own priority. His ego rules. His narcissism and character really show in all of his behaviors and choices. He is more than willing to look like a hypocrite about his COVID rules if it's something that will boost his ego. But if there is nothing in it for him, if it doesn't serve his ego, like taking his daughter to North Carolina, for example, he just can't do it. Then the pandemic becomes an issue. It shows Cody's character, it shows his values, and it shows his flawed priorities and just what his priorities are. Cody's priorities aren't his wives or his kids. Cody's priority is Cody, and it's a very hard job propping that ego up 24/7. He also doesn't care if he looks like a hypocrite who breaks his own COVID protocols to officiate this wedding and to do a cross-country road trip. But he suggested that he couldn't attend Isabel's surgery. And one of the reasons he suggested was that he can't look like a hypocrite and break his own COVID rules. Yet he had no problem looking like a hypocrite to officiate this wedding. Cody says This is something he knows he can pull off, officiating the wedding. But he is also a failed priest. He has been defrocked. He says he's got a wife leaving him. Cody meets Christine at her house because she wanted to talk. Christine tells Cody that they are moving and keeping this house. And Christine says she doesn't know what to do about her house. And Cody suggests that Christine selling her house now would make it so they could pay off Coyote Pass. And then Janelle can actually build on it. Christine says if she is going to sell her house, she is not going to put that money into Coyote Pass. Why in the fuck would she? Cody is delusional AF if he thinks Christine is going to help pay off the land, or if he thinks she wants anything to do with it at all. That was so ridiculous of him to even suggest. It's her home, it's her money for her and her kids, and whatever the fuck she wants to do with it. Why the hell would she ever invest the money into the land she's not even going to live on? How did that even compute in Cody's mind? Cody is really off the charts. Wow. I want to remind everyone to please check out Cooking with Just Christine. Sometimes people ask, where is Annie, Christine's mom? And Christine's mom happens to be in an episode of Cooking with Just Christine, available on TLC's website and TLC's Insta page. That's a great way to support Christine, so go check it out. That does it for this episode. To my YouTube viewers, please like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments section if you like. I'll be back soon for the next episode of Sister Wives. Thanks for listening. Bye.